all the issues. And oh, yeah, like the dude just said, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Well, welcome to the middle of the week. You guys, you are halfway to the weekend. That means stop what you're doing. We got to hear from the camel. Play it, man.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo! Yeah, it is. It's hump day. Camel says so. So listen, you are halfway to the weekend, my friends. We're going to get you all the way to go home time on a Friday afternoon. But in the meantime, we're going to kick off a show right now. A good one, a big one. We got news. But in the meantime, JP's pushing buttons on the board. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Happy hump day.
Happy hump day to you. Halfway to the weekend.
It's hard to believe. It's almost like 2 hump days in 1 week this week.
Although I happen to know you're going to be working through the weekend.
Yes, I will. But hey, Bama's got a bye this week. So
did you plan this around that?
Perfect week.
No way you planned this around Bama's bye.
God ordained it.
Okay. Oh, I see how that is. All right, we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff on the show today. Coming up at 4 p.m., don't forget, as always, on Wednesday afternoons, we have the Grand Council with my brethren in talk radio, Jeff Poore and Dale Jackson. So, yeah, that's coming up at the beginning of hour number 3. And then there's still a triple dipper, bar none. So hit it, man.
The Triple Dipper. 3 stories you've got to know.
That's right, the Triple Dipper, 3 stories, 3 themes, if you will, that you got to know as we run today's show. So first out the gate, y'all, we got an announcement. We're going to make it here in a few minutes. I'm calling it Rightside 2.0. It's like next level. Rightside 2.0 is about to happen. You know, you've all heard me talk about the fact that God has opened a door. The president has called, and Charlene and I are answering the beckoning to go through the nomination confirmation process to be the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Alabama. Honor of a lifetime. Cannot believe it's happening. That being said, the microphone's still here. Well, we got news. We're going to talk about Rightside 2.0, who's going to be sitting at the mic, and I'm pretty stoked about it. So we'll talk about that. Number 1, Triple Dipper. It's all going to be about Rightside 2.0, so stand by. Number 2 on the Triple Dipper, safe streets, assuming we can get to it. I have a feeling this show may take on a bit of a life of its own. We'll see. But number 2 on the Triple Dipper is planned as safe streets. I'm talking safe streets in blue cities. Like, what does it take to actually have safe streets in a blue city? You look around right now, we had massive shootings last night in Washington, D.C. We've got Tuberville calling on the National Guard to be sent to Montgomery. We've got any number of things happening in Portland, Chicago, around the nation, blue cities, safe streets. Number 2, Triple Dipper. Number 3, welcome to week 4 of indeed the Schumer shutdown. I'm calling it the Schumer shutdown Shinola week number 4. We'll get into that. I got some stuff that's interesting and a few details that you might want to know. So the Schumer shutdown Shinola week number 4, Triple Dipper number 3. All right, well, let me kick on into the Rightside Way opening monologue. I'll remind you guys, as always, the opening monologue brought to you by attorney Stan McDonald. Stan McDonald, partner at the law firm of Wilmer & Lee, 30-year veteran in the practice of law, longtime conservative, and, yeah, daily sponsor of the Rightside Way. And I'll tell you more about Stan here in just a few minutes. All right, well, let me just start by saying today is a day that I did not see coming in many ways. Today began the official passing of the torch here at Rightside as I begin my exit to take on the new challenge that God has laid before me. Now, as most of you have already heard, the Lord has opened a door. President Trump has called, and I have been nominated to serve my country again, this time as the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Alabama. And like I said a moment ago, it is, in fact, the honor of a lifetime. As the old saying goes, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. It's true. But let me give you another saying, too. One that came to me years ago during another life change that I was in. And that is that I believe you can do just as much in the way you exit as you can if you had stayed. That's true, too. I could have stayed right here behind the microphone, writing the op-ed, speaking into the moments, relating truth to power, and that would have been the comfortable thing to do, to be honest. If the last 4.5 years with all of you right-side ruffians are any indication, I believe that the time would have been still meaningful, gainful, by staying. But I also know that this is a calling that must be pursued. So hear me when I say that while I love this gig, the radio, the podcast, the speeches, the media appearances, all the written work, I love this gig. I can make a difference and still have it be meaningful and gainful in the manner and means by which I leave. And I know that. In short, my plan here is to finish strong and pass the torch. I read an article not long ago. I came across it one morning in the wee hours. I was sitting there with my coffee at the house, and the article was about a guy, an Alabama guy, who just became the oldest person to ever complete the entire Appalachian Trail. If you're not familiar, that's 2,000 miles over some rugged terrain. The guy's name was MJ Eberhart. He goes by the nickname Sonny. No, MJ lives at Flag Mountain near Mount Cheehaw. He's a retired dentist, and he says that he found his peace and forgiveness in life by spending time with God out on the trails, like lots of trails. He goes by the trail nickname of Nimblewheel Nomad, which I'm sure is taken from the Nimblewheel Gap up on the AT in North Georgia. Sonny said his age forced him to scale back a bit. He did it like with only 8 or so hours a day of hiking. 8 or so hours a day. The man's 83 years old. Look, I used to backpack a lot. I spent a lot of time in the Rockies, along the Southern Appalachian Trail, in the Smokies. I love the outdoors, but I feel tame by comparison to Sonny Eberhart. I mean, the Appalachian Trail is not a weekend project. Some folks are what they call through hikers, meaning they start and they keep going for one solid, continuous hike nonstop. I did a part once of the Advanced Trail up to Springer Mountain in North Georgia, which is considered the southern terminus of the AT. It was a solid, mountainous 12-mile hike, and my buddy and I camped in a trail shelter. And the next morning, as we're finishing up breakfast, this dude comes walking up. He had an impressive beard. He had good, but like really well-worn gear. He asked where we had hiked in from, and I was kind of proud. I told him Amicalola Falls, 12 miles. I asked him where he had came from. He just smiled and said, Maine. 2,000 miles, 6 months straight through from Mount Katahdin in the state of Maine all the way to Springer Mountain, Georgia. Impressive, to say the least. But none of us, including that guy, were 83 years old like old Sonny Eberhart from Flag Mountain, Alabama. Sonny is past the point of an earned retirement. He keeps seeing trails he wants to spend time on. In my opinion, looking at the story of Sonny Eberhart, the Nimblewheel Nomad, I'd say he's intent on finishing strong. As I read Sonny's story, I couldn't help but think that his attitude ain't bad. I mean, I don't know that I'm ever going to try to convince the lovely Charlene to let me take off for 6 months and try, and I mean keyword try, to hike the whole AT. But I do know that as I get frustrated with the events in the news or to work to find solutions to policy issues or just juggle life, that I find myself thinking sometimes there's a pace that I need to set, like a steady pace. It doesn't have to be a sprint. And when the end comes, I want to know that I finished my life, my calling, my relationships. I finished all of them strong. No regrets. Well, somewhere in all of that musing, I found myself remembering another story. I heard it years ago. I even used it as an illustration once in Bible studies. It was the 1992 Summer Olympics in Barcelona. Great Britain's premier sprinter was a guy named Derek Redmond. He was truly a world-class guy, expected to medal in all the games. During the 400-meter sprint, as Redmond rounded the first bend, he came to the straightaway and he suddenly tore his right hamstring. Just took him to the ground. The crowd saw his face. It was contorted in pain as he laid there on the track. I mean, all of his training, all of his time, all of his goals, they seemed to be changing right there in the moment. But then he stood up, and all the other runners had already lapped around and completed the race. Well, Redmond was out of the medals for sure, but he didn't head to the sidelines. Instead, he began to limp forward in his lane, and it became apparent that he was going to do everything he could to complete the race. Well, suddenly there was a commotion from the side of the track, and this large man came pushing past security, came out of the track. It was a civilian coming out of the stands. It was Derek Redmond's father. He came up, he put an arm around his son, and with Derek actually crying, he actually helped his son make it all the way to the finish line. It was an amazing moment. When he was asked later why he did it, why did he limp around a track for a race that was technically done? Derek Redmond simply replied, "My country did not send me here to start a race. They sent me here to finish one." What an attitude. I mean, what a great, great attitude. So much is said there if you read between the lines. When finishing first became a non-issue, Derek Redmond still had the mental state that moved him to keep pushing through the pain and the honor for those who sent him to finish strong. Now, I say all that knowing for a fact there may be a lot of you out there ready to throw your hands up. Maybe you feel like life's gotten the best of you. Maybe the idea of change is like daunting or scary. I get it. Can't say I hadn't been there myself several times lately. Whether it be local, state, or federal policy, it seems sometimes like I'm watching everybody getting shafted, or the worker bees, the small business owners trying to struggle in the Biden economy. But we don't have the luxury of stopping in midstream, do we? We don't. If we don't push back and work to finish strong, what will our children and grandchildren have to face? So you keep on pushing. You push back against the culture wars, You push back against the government overreach. You push back against the issues of life that stand in your way. You define yourself actually by standing against the encroachments and the infringements of liberty. You decide that you will work, you will pay your bills, you will raise your kids, you will serve your God, you will raise your flag. No amount of downward moments or setbacks or crazy politics or just plain old life change is going to deter you from finishing strong. It's like the World War II paratrooper who told another non-paratrooper during the Battle of the Bulge. He said, if you're looking for a safe place, get behind me. I'm the 82nd Airborne, and this is as far as the bastards are going to go. Well, that kind of attitude is what you have to have. And I mean this in all the ways that you could possibly imagine. Whether you're dealing with matters in your personal life that are wearing you down, or you're staring at a job situation that's making you think twice, or politics is wearing down on you, it could be relationships or finances or too much of this or not enough of that, finish strong. You can do as much good in the way you finish. I'm saying it. People watch that. Your kids, your spouse, your coworkers, your friends, they see the way you strive to finish strong. That actually means something. And for our country right now, well, we won a major victory in the last election cycle, but we still have so much to do. I mean, literally, y'all, there is still so much left to do. The new voices that are going to be here at Rightside Radio, they're still going to have what I would call a target-rich environment to work in. And there's plenty of fight left. I would say take every legal, legislative, political, grassroots, outspoken measure that we can. I'm aware of legal fights that have just begun, some that are about to kick off. I'm aware of active groups and advocates pressing for change and actually being heard. I'm aware of political movements that seemed non-existent just even a month ago. They're starting to really kick in. And I'm aware that we have a ways to go, but if we don't take the attitude just described, that we are determined to finish strong, then they won't happen. I also believe it's not just about culture and politics. I think there's a restoration of faith going on. Some call it a revival, the next great awakening. I say bring it. Stand for what you believe what you stand for. God is worth it. But the bottom line is this. Finishing strong is a big deal. You can finish tired. Don't be well rested when you finished. Leave nothing on the field. This is not unique to me, by the way, too. I don't know who Sonny Eberhard or Derek Redmond really are personally. I don't know what that salty old paratrooper was like in real life, but I do know I like people like that. And I know people like that. And they just look like me and you. Ordinary folks who just decided they were going to finish strong. Well, the bottom line is, I'll end with this. Just this morning, during my quiet time, I was reading in 2 Timothy. One of those moments occurred as I came to 2 Timothy 4:7. Paul said this. He said, my departure is near, but I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Paul determined to finish strong. There it is. That's my word for you today. Always finish strong, my friends. And that's a wrap for the Right Side Way. Well, there you have it. Amazing stories, but I mean what I say. Finishing strong, y'all, what that really is part of your testimony. Anybody can do the easy. If it was easy, everybody do it, right? Don't finish well rested. Finish strong, though. Phil Williams, Right Side Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. We just recorded an amazing podcast with former Navy SEAL Jared Hudson, who now hunts down human traffickers. He's also got a personal story that involves a lot of overcoming and a ton of faith. So listen, I can't encourage you enough. Go ahead and sit down. Make yourself ready for the Just Right podcast. In this case, with Jared Hudson. Yeah, let's do a show.
1, 2, 3, hey!
Jared Hudson, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, brother.
I'm glad to have you and appreciate you making time. So I'm going to do sort of an intro so folks know exactly who I've got sitting across the table from me right now. But so you're born and raised here in Alabama, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, born in Lynchburg, Virginia, and when I was about 4 or 5, we moved here. So, but yeah, pretty much born and raised.
So you're a
here.
carpetbagger. You came down from up north.
Came down from up north. Came down from just below the Mason-Dixon line now. So still
works.
Technically the South.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
Bottom line though, grew up to become a Navy SEAL. That was your career. Team 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right.
Sniper qualified.
Yep, sniper.
You're also APO certified, Alabama,
Alabama
Police Officer Standards.
Standard. Yeah.
Yeah. Certified law enforcement officer.
Yep.
spent time in law enforcement, even ran for sheriff of the largest county in the state of Alabama, Jefferson
Hey,
County.
I was the sheriff runner-up is what I like to say because it
You
makes
were-
me feel better.
You were actually the Republican choice. How about that?
There you go. How about that?
And I'll be honest with you too. We'll talk about that more later. But as a longtime member of the Republican Party and a former elected official myself, I watched your race, and you were in a blue county running a red race, and you took him to the wire. And I think that says a lot.
Yeah, about 1%. And I lost by about 1.5%, I think, is what it came down to.
It was way close, and I think he was scared.
Yeah,
and he should have been. All right, there's that. You ran for sheriff. You love the Lord. You make no bones about it.
only thing that matters.
Perfect. Which also leads me to you got a beautiful wife and 3 daughters.
I do. Yep.
And I think those 2 are the crowning pieces of your resume.
They are. So I've got the wife, the 3 girls, and obviously my faith first and foremost, even above them. Jesus says, if you don't hate your family, then you don't have a love for me. It doesn't mean that I actually hate my family because I'm called to draw them to Christ, but my love for him even supersedes my love for them, and my love for them is unbelievably great. I'd burn the world down for those girls, and so that's how I feel. So imagine what I do for Jesus, if that makes sense.
And you're trained to burn the world down.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Don't mess with my daughters because I'm gonna die trying.
I'm for that.
Yeah.
You now run, having spent time in the teams, you're out civilian world. You now run 2 companies, the Shooting Institute and Covenant Rescue Group.
Yep.
And we'll get into both of those in a minute. But I think suffice to say, your previous resume has translated well into what you're doing in the civilian world.
It has, yeah. The time in the SEAL teams is what prepared me, but also gave me, it's like the little bit of bait on the hook. And you still have to set the hook, but that's what gets people interested in who I am. Because SEAL, I'm just a regular dude like anybody else, but SEAL is a thing that people look at and they're like, wow. Like you hear doctor, you hear lawyer, you hear politician, congressman, senator. Those things carry some weight because it takes something to get there, and I think that's what SEAL has done for me.
I think that's fair to say, and I think. There's never going to be a time in your life, I'm of the mind, that God doesn't plant something in your life with purpose beyond what you might have imagined it.
100%, man. 100%.
You also, apparently, like every other SEAL, you wrote a book.
Yeah, that's right. Now, all my other SEAL buddies say, "I didn't write a book, bro. You wrote a pamphlet. It's only like 50 pages long." But yeah,
it works. It publishes.
Yeah, that's right.
And you also, by the way, right here with Rightside, you're one of our podcasters.
Yeah,
you got the Liberty Minute podcast, comes out every other week for the most part. Yeah.
I told a guy told me, he said, "Oh man, you're that guy on the Liberty Minute with Phil Williams." I said, "Yeah, man, my name's Jared. Nice to meet you." Go, "I know exactly who you are. I got one question though. Why do you call it the Liberty Minute? Because it's like 13 to 17 minutes every time." And I said, "Look, it's just a name, bro.
It's a euphemism,
yeah,
man.
It's just a name." So I thought it was pretty good though.
All right, cool resume. Let me ask you this. You got a beautiful family, amazing military record. You live large. How if I'm going to start off, I'm going to get philosophical right off the bat. So having said all that, those things, like on paper, I see it all. But how do you want to be remembered?
Yeah, no, I mean, the only thing that you should be remembered as is who are you in the person of Jesus Christ, because that's the only thing that lasts, right? Now, if I die right now, I'm going to be attached. I'm going to have a lasting impact, even in my death, on my wife and my girls. Possibly some of the people in my sphere of influence, possibly some of the guys in the SEAL teams I work with or in business or whatever. I might have a lasting impact. But oftentimes that lasting impact is not so much – it's not so much who you are here physically. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I really believe it's who you are in the person of Jesus Christ. Because they look at it and say, man, that guy really
And we are back. Phil Williams, Right Side of Radio, solid conservative and just plain right. Just making common sense like a superpower. All right, I'm going to the text lines here momentarily, but first let me tell you about attorney Stan McDonald. Yeah, attorney Stan McDonald, partner at the law firm of Wilmer and Lee, a 30-year veteran in the practice of law in North Alabama. Listen, I know Stan personally. I think the world of him. I'm going to tell you right now, he's not only a good lawyer, he's been a long time, like right side ruffian, OG ruffian from way back, in the trenches, in the fray, in the mix, all the things that right side ruffians care about. That being said, as an attorney, Stan McDonald has also assisted his clients in like literally thousands of real estate transactions. He can stand up for any local, state, or federal court. I'd like to say if Stan McDonald's on your side, you're going to have no greater friend. Likewise, your adversaries would have no greater foe. You need an attorney in North Alabama. I'm going to tell you how to reach him. You ready? At Stan McDonald, the law firm is Wilmer and Lee. He's an America First family man, and here's his phone number, 256-533-0202. That's 256-533-0202, and tell him you heard about it on Rightside Radio. And no representation made, the quality of the service would ever be bad. Why would it ever be bad? I wouldn't advertise a bad lawyer. It's Stan McDonald. What do you want? Bam. He got whoop-whoops today. All right. Text lines are going strong right now. 833-687-4448. That's 833-68-RIGHT. Text it, call it, same number for both. What you got over there, man? You got something on your side?
We got several comments over here. We got
Nice.
Crystal on the YouTube. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello from Decatur, Alabama.
Hello, Crystal.
Got Tinkerbell on the YouTube saying hello from Decatur, Alabama. So it's 2 Decaturs.
Okay.
David at Bucky's, happy hump day. We got John from Huntsville, happy hump day. And then Dave Edwards on the Facebook says, happy hump day to you two. I have not given you a congratulations on your appointment. Congratulations to you, sir, and great opening monologue.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you.
And one more, Lucas Broadway on the YouTube says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness.
Amen. All right. Good stuff, man. Let me get a few of these text line pieces. Adam from Athens says, today's the day you announce who will take over the show. Yes, it is. He said, Emily wasn't on Dale's show this morning. No, but nice try. Yeah, coming up after the next break, we'll be talking about Rightside 2.0, and we'll go down that road. Scott from Russellville, Alabama says, great monologue, Brother Phil. I thoroughly believe in your message today. You're going to be missed, but you are doing the Lord's work. We're praying for you. Congratulations. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate you, man. Allie from Athens. Hello, Allie. She says, Colonel, I'm in a season of being personally dismantled in a very good and challenging way. I needed this today. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You're welcome, sister. Appreciate you. Junebug down yonder in Hartselle. Junebug says, my husband and 2 of his friends are on the Appalachian Trail right now. Oh, see, I'm jealous. This is the time of year, man. In the fall, the AT. Anyway, they're on the Appalachian Trail right now. They've done 1,000 miles total over the past few years. They hike in increments. Yeah, going twice a year. They enjoy every minute. They love the experience of seeing God's creation firsthand, meeting people along the trail, fellowshipping with each other as they go. You should join them sometime. You'd fit right in. Man, don't tempt me with a good time. Appreciate you, Junebug. I've got trail jealousy right now. Jeff Rowe from Indiana says, hey, Phil, great monologue, but like Dan Bongino, who was called away from the mic to serve his country, same as you, I can see him coming back after his service is done as I can see you coming back because it's in your blood. So this is not a goodbye. It's just a pause for a good cause. Jeff, I will take that to heart, brother. Appreciate you. Do I hear music playing in the background? I do. Music's playing. Preacher, got to quit preaching. All right, we're taking a break. We'll come right back. Rightside 2.0 coming up.
Really was who he believed in. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so it's and I believe it's in James. He talks about, I'll show you my faith through my works. That's not a works-based salvation.
Right.
He's not saying that I'm working my way to heaven. I'm not doing X, Y, and Z, and that's going to get me to heaven. No, he's just saying, I have faith and I believe in Jesus, and because of that, you're going to see my fruits. My fruits are going to show that I believe in Jesus. Now, there's another aspect of that without getting too far off on this, topic. You hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I let people see who Jesus is through how I live my life." Right? That's what I don't necessarily tell everybody about Jesus, but they get to see who Jesus is through how I live my life. Well, that's not good either, because Paul says, "How will they hear if they don't have a preacher to preach?" So there's 2 aspects to that. There's one, what I say. Right? Scripture says a freshwater spring doesn't produce salt water. What I say is unbelievably important. But then once I say it, it's my actions that back it up. It's words, then action. And we see that with God. John chapter 1, in the beginning was the Word, right? Wasn't in the beginning was the action, was the creation. No, in the beginning was the Word was God, the Word was with God. And then all was made through him and by him, and without him, nothing was made. We see that in John chapter 1. First was the Word, what he spoke, what we speak. Then second is the actions that back up what we speak. And ultimately see in John chapter 4 or John chapter 1 verse 14, the Word became flesh and dwelt among men, right? And we see that in Isaiah. He says, I was amazed. God was amazed that there was none who could stand before him. He's talking about when he was drawing the plan to create the world. None could intercede for man. So he said, I'll take up my own strong arm of salvation. So God says, I'm going to make a world where sin is possible. I'm not going to make them sin, but I'm going to give them the option. And guess what? I know they're going to choose sin. And there's none that are going to be able to stand before him, but I'm going to make a way out of sin. And it's going to be through me. That's what God says, and that's who we should be.
That's
so
1
the lasting
10:13.
That's right. So that's a lasting impact. The lasting impact is when I die, when I'm gone, when anybody looks, was Jared Hudson, was his actions, how he raised his kids, who the husband he was to his wife, how he was to his friends, the guys he went to war with, the guys that he worked with here, stateside law enforcement. Did his actions match the words that he said? And those are the two important things. So when I'm remembered, I want to be remembered as a guy whose actions matched my words, because ultimately that should, as a Christian, that should give not honor and glory to me, that gives honor and glory to God. That guy really was who he believed in.
I think that's awesome. And let me ask you this, because I'm going to chase a rabbit for a minute. I just heard probably 5 times in the last couple of minutes you quoting scripture. So, like me
loosely quoting scripture.
Okay, it wasn't too awful of a paraphrase, but most of it was pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And also when you said that, it would click verses in my mind. I think I responded back a minute ago, 1 Corinthians 10:13.
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer in memorizing scripture. My personal, I call it my life verse, is Joshua 1:8 and 9. And it says, this book of the law shall not depart from you. You shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may do what is written in it, and by this achieve prosperity and success. So let me ask you this. Is the memorization of scripture something that's happened just because it was ingrained over time, or do you have a deliberate attempt on a regular basis to put it to memory?
Man, I just read it, if I'm being honest.
It just sticks?
Yeah, just read it. Wait, what'd you say?
Does it just stick? I mean, when you read it, does it stay?
Stick? Yeah,
or do you intentionally try to memorize it?
No, I don't intentionally try to memorize it. It's just I think it's just the natural outcome of of reading the word. You can, and when I was a kid, we did Awanas. I think it was with my dad. Yes, we did Awanas. Not far from here. Rainbow City First Baptist, right up the road here. And so we would memorize verses as a kid that would stick. And having a dad that was a pastor, my parents they never forced us to do anything, but we would read scripture, and we'd read it as a family. And I think all my brothers and sisters do the same thing. We spend time in our Bible. It's a part of our life because it was ingrained into us at a young age.
Yeah.
Proverbs says, train up a child in the way they'll go, and when they're old, they won't depart from it. And so I think there's an aspect of that to whoever I see it with my daughters, with my girls. We'll do memory verses, and we'll
Hey, all you Rightside ruffians out there, you are listening to Rightside Radio, solid conservative, just plain right. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative and just plain right. Covering down on some major ground across the southeast U.S. of A. Y'all have talked about this show. This show goes like from Huntsville back over to Chattanooga, and I'm talking about Tuscaloosa back over to Gadsden. I'm talking about all the way down to that loveliest little village on the plains we call Auburn, War Eagle, straight across the line from there to what we call, once again, Fort Benning. Big old patches of North Georgia and Mississippi all thrown in just for good measure. And that's just the radio. Then there's all y'all in the whole wide world going to the World Wide Web and logging in on the live stream. Places like X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and our website, rightsidemedia.org. And then, oh, by the way, a ton of y'all podcast the show after the fact. Bottom line is this. Wherever you catch the show, we can see it and we appreciate it. You're the only reason why we get behind the microphone. So thank you very much. All right. It is time. There's been speculation. There's been ruminations. There's been all kinds of aspirations. People wonder what in the world's going to happen with Rightside. So here I am stepping out from behind the mic, going to follow a new calling that I did not see coming. You may recall that a few weeks ago, there were some folks in the studio, and they're in the studio again because I am pleased to announce that the former hosts of Alabama Unfiltered are now the hosts of Rightside Radio, and they, along with JP, are the actual owners now of Rightside Media, the parent company. Allison Sinclair, Amy Beth Shaver, how are y'all doing? Microphones. There you go.
Great, humbled, excited.
Can I have some applause for this, please? I mean, you can let that sit there with no applause. You're the button guy. There you go.
This has been the hardest secret to keep ever.
Especially when people walk right up to your face and go, you're the ones that are doing Rightside, aren't you?
I don't know.
Who knows?
It's I've had more than one person go, so it's going to be what? It's going to be so-and-so? No, I can't talk about it. Well, it's going to be, and then somebody actually guessed, and I don't know who it was now. I
There's
can't
several.
remember. You think?
Yeah, there was multiple that guessed Allison and Amy Beth.
I feel
And we're
like if
actually
you
excited for it.
stopped, are you surprised?
No. I think it's a good thing.
Well, I feel like if you really stopped and thought about it, you could get there. But and I hope we'll tell the story of how
Yeah.
all this happened.
Yeah,
because
it's crazy.
the most bizarre guide. Like, could not. I don't even know if you could even think it up.
Mm-mm.
No.
Kind of
No.
crazy story. So we're really excited to be here. Pretty surreal, a little bit nerve wracking that like this is a big kid thing to do. And so gotta pull it together, Abs. But we're super excited and so excited to have JP. I mean, JP is that first show we did with you. We were like, this is good.
Yeah,
This is going to
This
work.
is good.
I felt the same.
absolutely.
And there was, and you did feel the same. You told me afterwards. But there was also a connection. Uncle Bill, my stepbrother Bill, your Uncle Bill, played basketball with
Amy
My
Beth's
husband.
your husband.
at Grissom High School.
Yes, go
Mhm.
Tigers.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So yeah, that's crazy. So when I told Chris who the producer was, he was like, "You've got to be kidding me." And then he knows your mom, and she's a legend. And so there was the Huntsville connection. And even beyond that, the craziest thing is the next time that we were in studio, I'm adopted. I was born in Hershey, PA, and I was taken home from the hospital, literally a few days old, to a place that no one in Alabama's ever heard of. And when JP said, "Oh yeah, my family's in Altoona, PA,"
Yeah.
I was like, "You shut up." What?
And that's where you were
And
raised?
that's
or
where
born?
my parents, so when I was an infant, I was brought home to them, and their house at the time was in Altoona, PA. And then my mom and dad moved 6 months later to Birmingham for my dad to finish his training.
Wow.
But of all the places in the universe to know basketball and a Huntsville connection, and then to have a Pennsylvania connection, I like stop it.
Altoona, Pennsylvania.
Altoona,
very
PA,
cool.
people.
Y'all are basically Yankees. Is that
That's-
No,
that what-
that
I'm
is
not a
not.
Yankee.
Carpetbag.
I'm born and
I
raised
was
here.
born there, and I got here as quickly as I could.
Yeah.
That's as a 6-month-old.
Okay.
But my mom always did say that her Southern friends thought that she was never quite Southern enough.
Well,
Mm.
let me jump in and say too, this is so this has been like my life now for the last 4.5 years, and we can talk about all the details, but this has been like the place where every single day, half my life was, well, more than that. I like to call this my full-time, part-time job, it seems like, but the reality is I've loved it. And so this has been more than just a gig or a business. This has been like a passion project for Charlene and I. And so the idea of somebody coming in, it was as much a vetting of who they were as to whether the details could come together in a business sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I'll just tell the audience, we knew each other without knowing each other well, but we knew each other through Alabama Policy Institute connections, and had a similar worldview. And so then I began to sort of track what y'all were doing with your previous radio show. Super successful, by the way, did a great job with that one. And then all of a sudden this fit happened. And so I'll just tell the audience, and I'm telling y'all while you're sitting here, this feels like as ideologically sound as anything else to do with the business. I already know JP. I know where he is, but knowing that y'all have got it too is just, Charlene and I have taken a great deal of comfort in that. So yay.
And
Well-
let me also reassure that's 100% true.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's not just Phil saying that.
No, yeah.
Because Phil's prone to lie. He embellishes all the time.
Which is why the president called on him. So
It's been Caleb with a K, who I hope he texts in today. I haven't forgotten about him.
Making a sandwich.
Yeah, we should be making sandwiches. Well, we just bought a business, Caleb with a K. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
but you know, like our foundations are all the same. Our beliefs are all the same, and I get it. It's going to take a minute. We're not Phil Williams. You have some big shoes to fill.
Nah.
Anyway, Phil, and
That was good, Allison. I like
dude,
it.
I don't know.
That's
It just
good.
came
really
out
good. It was the caffeine.
but our goal and our mission is the same.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate you because I know, and even today, I don't know if I can say this, like everybody has been on the verge of tears, just kind of overwhelmed with this whole thing. And so we don't take lightly you having faith and trust in us to carry this torch, to continue what you've built, because your name has a lot of weight to it and a lot of respect. And gosh, you're way more mature than us, and we're going to try and not embarrass you along the way. But
You just called me old. That's okay.
no. They're
Seasoned.
actually, I think my daughter's probably more mature than I am, and she's
That's
half
funny,
my age.
Allison.
But we're really honored and excited. And again, I mean, I remember the craziest. So I don't know. Do you want to go back to the dinner and
Yeah.
how all this happened?
Yeah, let me lay the
This is wild.
foundation. So we were in this mode where we realized this whole nomination thing was looking like it was going to happen. And I'll be honest with you, I told the audience, it kicked off for me last spring when I was asked if it were to happen, would I accept the nomination? Wow. Okay, so we kind of worked through this shadow process in the background for the longest time, but about how long's it been? A month and a half since we okay.
At least.
Yeah. We all were at the Eagle Forum dinner. And you guys had just recently ended your time with your previous radio show, Alabama Unfiltered.
Mhm.
And I'm standing there with Charlene, and she and I had been in this, what are we going to do phase? What are we going to do? I mean, do we wrap it all up? Do we shut it down? Is there anybody else out there? I'd had a few nibbling conversations, but there was never anybody out there that seemed like they were going to be able to do something. And I'm thinking, what do you do when you're not even sure you can talk about what's happening that makes you have to do something?
Mhm.
And then Allison, you walked up and had you ever met Charlene before that day?
I hadn't. And I'd done a little pre-dinner interview, kind of small group interview type setup with Carol Swain.
Yeah, right.
Who
was on my show the day before.
Yeah. And I listened to that interview to kind of prep for that. And that was really good. And I was walking her up to you, and you just happened to be standing there with Charlene in the front of the room. And actually, I don't think I was even supposed to be there. I got the call to kind of do that about 3 or 4 weeks before. Then my husband, Jared, couldn't go that night. So I called Abs and was like, hey, come be my date. And I just happened to walk up, and you and Charlene were standing there. Just introduce myself, kind of introduce you or to Carol. And I just walked off. I'm like, oh, it's Phil. Oh, and then you did the great emceeing. And
Fun Phil.
Yeah, Amy Beth and I were like, Phil is funny.
No.
Yeah, that was our
You did
takeaway.
great.
I wasn't
Yeah.
thinking I, of course, didn't know anything that was going on, but we were like, fun Phil came out tonight. And so then fast forward.
Well, hang on. Let me finish up the detail that you weren't standing there for. So the other piece of the story was, I asked you, I said, what are you guys doing nowadays? Because I knew the radio, I'd heard like through the grapevine, the radio show was part was over. And I said, what do you guys do? And you said, oh, we're here doing a podcast with Carol Swain. I said, you're doing podcasting? Oh, yeah. Like, why would you ask that? Yeah. Okay. And you walked away, and Charlene looked at me and said, that's who you need to call. Just like that.
Mm.
So,
And we had never met before.
no. And so I'm telling my audience this whole process has been one incidental moment, which there's nothing incidental with God, but one incidental moment after the other.
Mm.
I hadn't seen y'all, I don't know when, that night. And we only had known each other tangentially through API circles.
That's right.
And then that night you walked up, and like you said, you hadn't even planned on being there until like pretty soon before.
Yeah.
And Charlene said, that's who you need to call. So I called you.
You did. And what's hysterical, I'll never forget it. We actually were out in Colorado. We were at our friend Mike Durant, who's been on the show. We're friends with him. Love, such a great guy, so much fun. But we were out at his house in Colorado, and I had decided, like a ding dong, to go for a hike by myself, which you just I mean,
Allison,
you don't really.
So
by
I-
yourself in Colorado.
Yeah, I was
No,
tired
so
of
I
sitting.
literally, I was talking to her. She goes, "There's bear poop on the trail. I need to keep talking to you for a minute because I'm not sure what's out here." That's
So
what she says to me
You
on the
didn't
phone.
tell me you were
No,
by yourself.
I'm so serious. I went by myself. I was like, look, if I'm not back in 45 minutes, but and I got you get back in there and you're kind of like, it's getting a little eerie.
Mhm.
And then I saw a pile of poo.
She
and
did, and she described it to me.
it was
What?
not crusty. It was very fresh. Lots
See?
of berries.
Allison, did you turn around and walk away?
So I turn around, but here's what happened. So I turn around and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go back. But you're quiet and you're by yourself. So then I was like, I probably should turn my music on. Well, before I turn my music on, it starts to rain. So then I go, okay, I'm going to run. Well, as I start running, I look down at my phone and it's Phil Williams. And I'm like, bear poop, rain, Phil. Like, how do I do all this at the same time?
Well, I thought you were adding those together. A rainy day filled with bear poop and Phil calls.
No, but I really, because it was so random for you. I mean, I've been on your show before and we have talked, but I was like, if Phil's calling, it's really important. You don't miss Phil. But anyway, so I kept running down the trail. I get to this house that was empty and I sit on this porch. I don't even know who it is. I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
I'm calling
gosh,
Phil.
Allison.
I'm questioning all your judgment right now.
I mean,
all
look,
your life
it's
decisions.
too late to reverse your decision that just happened this morning. But I was like, I'll just wait it out and wait to go back, let the rain subside, let the bear go by and call Phil back. And I just remember sitting there. You said, I think maybe at that point, Charlene and maybe one other person knew what was happening.
Yeah, it was like there was like a real tight knit.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. And when we hung up, I sat there and just my mouth fell open because, when we left Alabama Unfiltered, it was one of the hardest decisions because we love the radio show. We just
Yeah.
loved what we were doing. And we didn't know what God had for us. And if it was to go back and I was like, I'm going to start needle pointing. My grandmother needle pointed. I'm like, that's great. I love my life. But we knew we still had something, felt like there was something more. And we were starting a podcast. But then when you called, it was like, wow.
Yeah, I
You
called
stopped.
and I remember you going. I told you, okay, I got to tell you something. It's real confidential. I told you about the possible nomination coming. I told you that I was looking to see if there was any way that y'all would be interested in taking on the Rightside mantle. And I remember you went, Phil Williams. And I said, yeah.
I don't even know what I meant with that.
And you said, yeah, Phil Williams. And I said, yeah. Anyway, but then you said the timing is unbelievable. And then you said, we just acquired a studio and we don't have any equipment.
Literally.
Yeah. We had just signed a lease on a studio in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And we were going to start with a podcast and we're kind of getting going on that. But it just has been wild to see and we can kind of step through, I guess, how we ended up here. But
when we get back, I'd love to hear what your conversation was like with each other, because I know she called you right after. And then also I want the audience to get a feel for your background. We talked about it once before when y'all were in studio with me, but I want to remind everybody, you guys have been OG ruffians from way back. So we're taking a break, because we have ad sponsors that need to do their thing. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We will be right back.
Stories, and we'll do Bible stories at night before they go to bed. So I do believe that's important. However, my parents' faith is not my faith. My parents' faith is not what's going to get me into heaven.
Perfect.
My dad's faith wasn't my mom's faith. My mom's faith wasn't her kid's faith. So we have our own faith in the person of Jesus Christ. So I do believe that you can't always lean on your mom and dad if they were Christians or if they were not Christians. You're going to answer for what you do. And what does that mean? When I say what you do, how do I transact with a person of Jesus Christ? Faith is not a work. I can have faith in the person of Jesus Christ and accept what he's done for me on the cross, or I can do what Pilate does, wash my hands and believe the lie that I'm innocent of this man's blood. So there is an aspect of you that is involved. Does that make sense?
There is.
Now, me being involved for just who I am, and everybody's different. Some people might write it down. Some people might memorize it. I would go on deployments, and I would just write because I could memorize better writing. I'd start in Genesis on, I mean, you're on a 6-month deployment to Afghanistan. If we weren't opping, we're watching movies. I can quote movies and all that. And my wife drives her crazy. How do you know these movies? I'm like, we watch tons of movies on deployment. And I would write just word for word, just what I was reading in my Bible. My granddaddy told me, he said, hey, read a Proverbs a day and it will make you wise. And I gave him, before one deployment, I gave him a Bible I had when I was in high school. I think the only thing I ever read was Proverbs. I'd read Proverbs a day and I would annotate it. And I gave it to him and literally it was all marked up. And I said, I read a Proverbs a day. And he told me, he said, well, that's good, son, but I didn't mean only read Proverbs. You ought to read the rest of the Bible as well. So there's that aspect too. We pick the things that we like. And I've learned that over time. And now I do the Bible throughout the year in about 10 months. It takes me to go through the whole Bible.
Yeah. So let me ask you,
it sticks.
It does stick. Yeah. And obviously I would say you definitely had some intentionality attached to it too. But let me ask you this. Has there been a time, and I'm really chasing a rabbit right now, but has there been a time, because God's word never comes back void.
Yeah.
Has there been a time when you were in the thick of something and a verse came back to you that you hadn't even thought of for a while, and it just like, wow, I needed to ponder on that for a minute?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if it's one that I'd never thought of for a while. I'll use a training example. A lot of times I hate Bud's training examples because a lot of guys that just tell Bud stories is because they have no war stories. That's what I've learned. They've never killed anybody or actually been in combat. The training stories I'm not big on, but this is one where this would apply, I guess. There was a Master Chief, and I believe his name was Guild, Master Chief Guild. If I remember right, I'm probably getting it wrong. I could text somebody and see, but either way, he was doing a program. He was part of a program where he would mentor Bud students as they were going through. They were trying to get numbers up because training was pretty much the same across the board, standard the same. The percentage was the same. They increased Bud's classes. We had 366 start with ours in class 264, and 32 actually graduated SQT and got a Trident, right? So, I mean, you're looking at less than 10% by the time you get selected to go to a SEAL team. And then once you get there, now you've got, sniper school. I mean, we lost 60%, 40% of us graduated and became snipers. And these are all SEALs, right? So we lost 60% in sniper school that had to go back to a team and didn't get sniper quad. You lose, like Green Team, selection for development group, what everybody refers to as SEAL Team 6, Special Mission Unit. Those are all SEALs. A lot of them good dudes, but you'll also lose 60% of those, and 40% of those guys will become Special Mission Unit SEALs. So there's always a selection process where there's an attrition rate. Make sense? And they're trying.
Well, there should be.
As it should be. If it was
easy, everybody do it, right?
Exactly right. But what they're doing is they're trying to increase those numbers because we need more SEALs, we need more snipers, we need more guys screening for Special Mission Unit. Right. Because of the way the war was going at the time. This is 2006, and he was going through Buds with us, and he would meet with students, and he would say, "Hey guys, look, this is what people do." He would go to the NFL, go all over the place, and figure out what mindset things, and all kinds of things. He'd bring it back and try to present it. And he said, every warrior across, the all of history, all of the planet, all of history, had a mantra. They had something they held to, something they leaned on, whether it was their belief system in a God, whether it was their family, whether it was whatever it is as a mantra. And I'm some dumb redneck kid from Alabama, 19 years old. I didn't know what a mantra was. And he said, what's that one thing that you can hold to that will help you make it through this process? Because if you can hold to something else besides the pain that you're going through, the distress of hypothermia, cold water, getting beat and buzz, all that stuff. If you can hold to something else, you can make it through. But if you
And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Solid conservative, just plain right. Saving the world one soundbite at a time. All right, we're back with Rightside 2.0 team. JP, Allison, and Amy Beth. So this is Rightside 2.0 going forward. Pretty stoked about it.
But you're sticking around. I mean, you're going to be...
You're
not
the real
just
OG ruffian.
Yeah, and you're not just disappearing. You're going to hang with us for a while, right?
I spec I'll pop in a bit.
You reckon.
I like it. I like it.
I do.
And bring your wife, please.
Oh yes,
Aw.
absolutely.
We probably should name
She's good for my
the
image.
Charlene Studios.
She's pretty fabulous.
I
She
like it.
is fabulous. So
Hey-
thank you, Charlene.
Hey, what'd you have on the text lines over there? You had something.
We're getting comments of approval. We got John from Huntsville saying, "I knew it. I love them. They are so entertaining." Mindy on YouTube as well saying, "Yay! I was hoping it would be them. They were great filling in." And David on Facebook said, "Great choice. Love it."
Nice. Looking at
Y'all.
Mark from Red Bay says, "Congratulations, ladies. Phil couldn't have made a better choice. I always love the show when you two are on. I'm excited to have you join the show."
Tom with all the kids too. He was
go,
one of the
Tom.
He was one of the ones that predicted it and wanted the ladies to.
Oh.
Maybe
fill
that's
in.
where I got it from.
People are
He
so
he just
kind.
texted in and said, "Yay, the ladies."
Aw.
Tom with 48 kids.
Oh, wow.
Thanks,
That's
you
good. That's good
guys.
stuff.
If they're bad, don't read them, or just we can read them.
We'll read them later.
We'll read them later.
You
just
know,
give us
just-
today.
Yeah, please.
Hey, listen, we got a few minutes before the music kicks in for the next break. But you and I saw each other at the dinner that night. You were like across the room, and I remember waving at you.
Yep.
And then, and by the way, people can't see what you is you. You is Allison I was talking to.
Yeah.
You is Amy Beth I was waving to.
Yes.
Charlene says, "That's who you need to call." By the way, Charlene just texted me and said, "You left off part of it." I also said, "I really like her." So that was good.
Sweet.
All right. So after I talked to her on the bear poop trail,
Yes.
all right.
Yeah.
After she finished sitting on
BPT.
the
Almost
stranger's porch
Yeah.
in the rain.
In the rain.
Who knows who's going to pop out of
But I
this
had to call
door.
Phil. It was.
But then you had to call Abs.
She called
Well,
Abs.
I don't even remember what happened. I may have just blacked out. So what happened? What did I
Well,
say?
because we know each other so well, we obviously we're programmed into each other's phones, so we don't even say, "Hey Al, hey Abs." You won't believe it.
So
So
the phone,
You won't
you
believe
just
it.
said, "Hey," and she just yelled, "You won't believe it."
Yeah, you won't believe
Okay.
it.
But then did I give you anything else over text? Because I can see
Oh,
you
yeah,
won't
no.
believe what just happened and then me disappearing for like 30 minutes.
Well,
and you're having to.
Yes, and I think people need to appreciate that about us because we do. JP, just FYI, we're paying attention always to our phone, but we can't always answer. And so, yes, we are known to disappear for a minute.
Me as well.
Okay, good. I'm glad. This is beautiful. But yeah, you called me, and then after the initial call, because y'all had to go somewhere, there was rapid fire texting back and forth. But you won't believe this. Phil just called. We can't tell anybody. Obviously,
Oh,
our
I think I
husbands-
did like threaten because
Yeah,
that
you were
was
like
a big thing.
We can't tell anybody. And I was like, Allison, I don't talk to anybody. So it's fine. So
But what did you think? Like when I called, were you like,
I was sitting at the kitchen table and I almost fell out of the chair. And then I went, okay, all right.
God just does something.
He just done did it.
Yeah.
Won't he do it? And that's what he did.
Well, it's a crazy story, but I want you to hear a little bit of their backstory. Like, why are they the ones for this? We'll talk about that when we get back. Phil Williams, Right Side Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We will be right back. Folks, Phil Williams here. I want to remind you that Inspire Advisors is one of our sponsors, and they are doing amazing work. Look, I know this audience. You're the kind of folks who believe in standing up for your principles. You're good stewards of your resources. But what if the companies you were investing in don't reflect your values at all? Well, that's why you need to meet Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors. Because Inspire Advisors, they are experts in the field of biblically responsible investing. They can help you grow your bottom line while also be proud of what companies you're investing in. Inspire Advisors, check them out. Their website, www.moneypatternwealth.com, and tell them you heard about it on Right Side Radio.
Trade on what you're going through, you'll never make it. Right? That was kind of his, and I'm not saying I necessarily agree with all that, but that's what he was putting out. And so I prayed to God. I mean, I knew the one thing I held to was God as a Christian. Grew up as a Christian, right? So got saved when I was 6 years old, asked Jesus into my heart. Like, God, what could my mantra be? I think it has to be in you. You know, I'm here for my family, for me. I want to do this, but it's in you. What is it? It was 2 Corinthians 12:9, I believe, is the verse. It says, it's when Paul was asking God, he's saying, hey, take away these thorns in my flesh, right? Whatever the issue was. People, some theologians say, believe it was a sight. Some people believe it was other things. But he said, take away these thorns in my flesh. He asked 3 times, and God 3 times said no. And then God says to Paul, he says, my strength, this is 2 Corinthians 12:9, my strength is sufficient for you, or my grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in your weakness. And I thought, That's it. And so that is a scripture that the Lord gave me in that time that I really didn't even, I'm sure I'd read it before, but I was a young kid. It's not like it was just brought up to my mind. I remember specifically reading that as I'm praying, reading that in a Bible, in my study Bible, and being in 2 Corinthians, and that scripture stuck out at me. And so that's what all right, God, your grace is sufficient for me. Your strength will be made perfect in my weakness. And that's in that book. Buds wasn't that hard as far as a physical standard. Like I could probably even now at 40 years old pass most of the standards. I can still do the O course. I could probably do first and maybe second phase 4-mile time run times. I could probably still do the swim. It's not actually that hard. It's the continuation of it through injury, through constant work that makes it so hard. They make you bad at things that you are often good at. That's why so many athletes struggle with it. So anyway, that's probably the best example I can give of a scripture that
That's
I
a good
held
one.
to.
And I had when I was my first tour downrange when I was mobbing out of Bragg. We had some SEER instructors that spent time with us, and I'll never forget. And I've actually talked about this before. I don't even remember what all they told me. I don't remember how to do my search and rescue dot, but I probably could now. But the reality is, one thing that stuck out with me was he said at one point he like just stopped in the middle of it, like it was an unplanned moment, and he goes, "Hey, let me just say, if you don't already have something bigger than yourself that you believe in, you better get it right now before you go downrange, because if they ever take you, you better have something to hang on to that's more than you."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And for me, that was my faith.
Yeah.
And for me, that was mine in downrange was Psalm 91, the soldier psalm they call it.
That was my wife's on my first deployment.
And my wife's the one who gave it to me.
No,
I don't
okay.
think I even knew Psalm 91 until she gave it to me.
No, I didn't. My wife can quote it word for word still.
Absolutely.
We were married. How old was she? I think I was 21. I might have been 22, and she was 19 when we got married. And we got married, and 2 months later, I rolled to Afghanistan, and it was a great deployment. Man, it was the Wild West. We're killing everybody we came in contact with. Those bad guys. It was what you trained for. It's what you desired. It's what you were going to do. It was great. Now hindsight being 2020, it's like, should we have even really been there? Now knowing what we've done, or at least seeing how they pulled out of Afghanistan. And but at the time, man, it's what you wanted to do as a young SEAL. And my wife, though, she knew that. She knew that what we were going into, what we were doing, and she prayed Psalm 91 every day. That was her verse.
Charlene did the same. My wife did the exact same thing. You look at my notes. That's a perfect segue. Let me do this.
No, I can't even read your notes.
Tell me. I can read I'm the only one who can read my notes.
That's important. That's the only thing that matters.
So tell me about your wife. So y'all met, and she's a team wife, obviously.
Yeah, she is.
Which is not easy.
No. Yeah, she. We met. We were just talking about this the other day. I think she's 3.5 years younger than I am. I'm 39 right now, and she's about to turn 36. So we met. She was 18, and I was, whatever that would have been, 21 into 22. I had just I'd been a SEAL for like 6 months, maybe 8 months, right? I did my first.
So you were still a SEAL pup.
I was a SEAL pup, man. I was a new guy. I did my first, deployment, or what they would count as a deployment. I checked in at the end of an Iraq deployment, stayed in Germany doing working with the Group 1 leadership as they're doing a pass-through. Decompression stop is what they called it for the whole team. So I stayed there as the whole team rotated through from Iraq. And I can't remember where we went into in Iraq, but I went with a Master Chief. Me and just a Master Chief went into Iraq. We had to check in and do something, and I can't remember what we did, and then we flew over to Germany. It was only there for a week. And that's one point I like to make in these podcasts. Guys anytime I talk, guys will be like, oh, yeah, Iraq, Afghanistan, or whatever we are. Just because I've got an Iraqi ribbon, Operation Iraqi Freedom or whatever. You got guys that have that stuff all the time. They got their combat action badge or their combat action ribbon or whatever. Just because you were in a country where combat was happening doesn't mean that you were in combat, right? And so there is a lot of that goes on. Just because I was in Iraq doesn't mean that I was doing what the boys were doing in Salter City, that deployment. I checked in at the tail end of that, and then I went to Germany. So just because you're a part of it doesn't mean you were doing it. And there is a misconception with that a lot of times. One, with how people receive it, but also, two, with maybe even how guys present it sometimes. So there's probably I don't know. I like to make sure that that's understood. went to Germany, went to get back from that, and was selected to go to sniper school as a new guy, which is very rare. And so I went to sniper school, and that was when I met my wife. And
You met her at sniper school?
yeah, so before I went to sniper school, I had to bring all the weapons that we were bringing back from. They landed at one of the. It might have been Fort Bragg, but they landed at one of the Army bases. I think it was Fort Bragg. They landed there. Me and another guy, a buddy of mine, I won't say his name. He's at Red Squadron still, or he was at Red Squadron. He might be. He was an instructor.
Alabama and Tennessee syndicated news talk leader, Rightside Radio. Phil Williams here live in the Rightside studios. Man, we got the local, the state, the national, sometimes the international. And oh, yeah, like the dude just said, solid, conservative, and just plain right. I'm going to be saying that in my sleep, y'all, just so you know.
I'm trying to, we can't, you're like an auctioneer. Like, you've got that cadence, you've got the bravado to say it. And we're like, hey, welcome back in.
How y'all doing?
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Won't it's good? You know, we're like the people in the office where you go check in.
What you
Get
been
your
doing?
driver's license. How you doing, Midge? Is everything fine? Good. Can I order you some lunch?
So we have several characters, like Judy from Jersey that comes out sometimes. And
my
so but we
What's
can't do that
What's
just
my
yet.
friend from Minnesota?
Marge.
Yeah, Marge from Minnesota.
You're
She
like
comes
radio
out sometimes.
schizophrenics.
We are. It's what caffeine does to us.
That's maybe
oh my
what
gosh.
Just ask our husbands.
sorry, that was supposed to be like a compliment to you of how professional, and then it just turned into
Sorry.
Judy. But we're gonna have to come up with something. I mean,
We're gonna.
all the way from Auburn to the plains and to I can't even do it.
I'll put my cheerleading
Down
voice
to
on.
the
I'll bring her
Bennings
back.
of Forts.
I'll bring
Hey,
it back.
I got to tell you, we had some text messages. So there's some of these folks, too, that are just like part of the fabric of our lives now. One of them is Allie from Athens. She just texted in, all caps, I got my wish. Wahoo! It says,
Aw.
welcome, ladies.
Thank
Um,
you,
I just got
Allie from
chills.
Athens.
She's awesome.
Wow.
Harriet from Madison, Alabama says, thumbs up for Rightside 2.0.
Oh.
Jerry from Decatur says, wow, Phil, you did not disappoint me with your choice to carry Rightside forward. I was thinking surely it would be a crazy paratrooper, but it turned out to be two crazy girls. Said I feel a connection to them because I've also been to Altoona, PA and Hershey, PA, and I really like the Hershey's Kisses streetlights and the smell of chocolate in the air. So roll on 18-wheeler and Airborne, and all the best to you, my friend. Jerry, appreciate you, man. Airborne all the way. What else we got here? You got some on your side over there?
Well, Ian from Hartsville on the text line said, I never heard of the ladies before they subbed for you last time. Looking forward to get to know them. All of God's blessings upon you, Phil, and your future endeavors.
Wow.
That's very cool.
Wow.
And then Steve from Tennessee says, I called your show on your first day 4.5 years ago. Happy to know we have experienced a trio of like-minded adults coming aboard. Good. Attracts good. Please carry on. Steve from Tennessee.
4.5 years ago.
Wow.
4.5 years. That's crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
And Julie Ruff. And by the way, some of them have nicknames. So Julie Ruff is one of them because she's a ruffian. She's Julie Ruff.
Okay. So
Julie Ruff.
RUFF, not
As
Mhm.
RUFF.
Okay.
Julie Ruff from Marshall County says, I'm so excited about this news. Welcome, ladies.
Oh, thank you.
And
Wow.
and Badger from Athens says, welcome aboard, y'all.
Oh.
This
So-
is so like what we missed when we were excited about doing the podcast, but after we filled in for you that day, we left and we were like, we so missed the radio. And it's the callers, it's the listeners, it's the interaction,
Yeah.
it's the live, it's the community, because it really is you're like, well, Allie from Athens.
Yeah.
We'll get it. Okay. Allie from Athens didn't call today. I hope she's okay, or she didn't text it.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, or you're like, then you're worried about Tom's kids. I don't know. Are they all sick? Are they throwing up like my daughter
All
is?
17 of them. by the
All
way.
48 of them are throwing up. I mean, it's like a whole
what are you even going to
thing.
do about that?
I don't know, but you connect, and I think in 2025, especially that it feels like you do life together, and we
Yep.
don't really get that. We
Yep.
get stupid phones and some text messages.
Yeah.
And
So
people can say what they want about radio, but I have been a radio person since I was a little kid, and my mom started listening to Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, yeah.
So you understand the power of radio and the beauty of that connection. And we all, you said it in your opening monologue, we're all about to throw our hands up and say, I've had enough. And yet I found a quote, and I'll share it later on, but fortune favors the brave, that great Latin phrase.
Yeah.
And it's a community of people looking to encourage each other as long as it's called today while we face the culture wars. That's it.
That's it.
Culture, faith, family, all the politics, yes, the sports, doing it in a fun way, because in the end, we know as believers, we know how it ends. And so we get to be happy warriors, but we are brave, because I'm sorry, some of the things going on in the world right now are terrifying, but it's a community that we missed. And when we filled in and you were gracious enough to let us do that, I think our ride home felt like 5 minutes, because we were immediately like, oh, this changes everything. And that is how the Lord does, isn't it? Where he just brings you something, and we're all crying. We've all been crying over the last several weeks because we can't tell anybody about our spouses. And you think there's literally no way this is going to work unless the Lord takes it, lifts it, and lets it fly. And
But
that's what we pray.
I completely agree with that. And I will say also, just on a side note, that day y'all subbed in, you have no how much was riding on that. That was a beta test. Y'all passed.
I thank you, Phil.
I just thought we were
Thank you, Phil.
like the
Thank you.
You're welcome.
10th people on the list to call, and you were
Tell
like,
Madge and Julie and all the personalities. I said, you're welcome.
Thank you, Phil. I hope that you'll call in. Listen, Phil, I was wondering, do you think if you ever get bored in the U.S. Attorney's Office, if you could just give us a call, maybe from the restroom or the lunchroom, and just call us and say, hey, it's me. Solid conservative and just plain rot.
Does she
If you
do
could
this all
ever,
the time?
yeah,
if
it's
you
just,
could ever do that for us, that would be great.
well, we kind of like all of our some of our callers have these names. We don't really know who they
We
are.
don't.
And so we just kind of thought we'd have our alter egos too. Because I really could be maybe should have been from New Jersey. I'm from East Tennessee, which is kind of close. Like,
Oh,
She's
like
a
if
volunteer.
you
I'm
get,
volunteer.
I mean,
Wow.
if you get a little feisty, but there's some Jersey in me, so watch out. And so I don't know, it just kind of, and then Rush, you always wanted to do like the parodies and the
Yeah, JP, we're going to do some
Yeah.
parodies.
Let's go with me.
How about some fun commercials?
That could be good.
It'll take me a minute, but then the ideas come to me in the middle of
Now,
the
I've been
night.
telling JP, by the way, listen, man, when you need a testosterone injection, just call me. I'll be there for
All
you.
good. Hey, Jeff from Indiana can call in every day and
That's
help
right.
me out too. So yeah,
That's
we'll
true.
be
What's
good.
up, Jeff?
I do
Um,
think like part of our philosophy is like life is really hard
Yeah.
on its own. And so if you can make something fun, you should, because it can't always be
I agree
fun.
with that.
So we try and make the hey, the hepatitis monkeys are on the loose fun.
And they're
Yeah.
aggressive.
And
Also,
We
the-
still have the monkeypox monkey up here.
yeah.
well, we
Oh!
need to add another monkey
What
and go find
we
him.
haven't even gotten to the herpes monkeys yet.
No.
So
Oh, that was the
anyway,
other thing they had, JP.
They had COVID too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the herpes.
Did you hear about this? The monkeys that escaped in Mississippi.
Oh,
Is this
Phil,
real?
this
yeah,
is
this is
real.
real.
Oh,
Yeah.
Phil,
This is not a bit.
Hang on a second. Y'all, this is a serious show.
Sorry, you didn't see that the truck wrecked in Mississippi and there were monkeys that were rabid and aggressive
When
with
did this happen?
herpes?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Shut up.
No, it made like all the musicals.
Yeah.
How did I miss this when I was resourced by Soap Spring?
Everybody
I
have a moment.
I could have a whole dipper called Monkey Business right now.
Yes,
You
you
could.
could. So you're welcome. And then just go into monkey business.
And they
Wow.
had, but 3 of them are still on the loose.
Yeah, they were injected with COVID, the flu, herpes. Apparently.
All right, this is a public service announcement for those of you in Mississippi. If you see a monkey, just shoot to kill.
Yeah. Run away.
No, but yeah, so they had to shoot them, and then 3 were still missing.
Monkeys.
They've got
riding
hepatitis
dogs.
C,
Wait a minute. Hang on a
herpes,
second.
and COVID.
Who's
Tulane
toting,
University.
who's toting around a truckload of infected monkeys? What the
Tulane.
heck?
Tulane.
They came from-
literally.
Of course, Louisiana.
Well, that's a heck of a green wave.
So
Just saying.
That's good.
Just
that was
saying.
quick.
You thought I
He's
just
the
made up the
profession-
monkey thing. You were
I'm
like,
still
what
thinking
is
you made up
she
the
doing?
monkey
No,
thing.
Pull up,
literally.
get on the Twitters. I'm telling you, it's true.
It's
All right.
happening.
Hang
Yeah.
on. I got several minutes before we go to the break. I got to do this.
Oh,
I gotta do
sorry.
this.
Sorry.
That's okay.
We digress.
Stop
Okay.
here. Stop.
Mayhem.
Just put all your other personalities aside for a minute.
Okay.
Now, hey, I want to make sure the audience knows who you guys are, though. You're not just people who have done radio before. I mean, you guys have been, like I said earlier, you're like OG ruffians from way back. So I don't know which one I want to start. I'll go with you first, Amy Beth. So you were a former Miss Alabama.
Yes.
But you use that platform for conservative Christian worldview issues.
Yes.
And you even wrote a book.
Yes.
And then you've been out there rabble rousing for years.
And yes, I have. Thank you. I served as Miss Alabama back in 1994, and that was along that we had to have a platform, and mine was abstinence and character education. So I got to go into high schools, middle schools, churches, community groups, and really learn to love politics, because right before that happened, I became Miss Alabama as Heather Whitestone became Miss America.
Yeah.
I worked for API. And I worked for Gary Palmer as an intern for the entire summer.
I did not recall that.
So I went from that into speaking, and speaking from there across the country, which is ridiculous, but that's what the Lord allowed. And then that led to more opportunities as spokesperson for API or for Allied Women, and being involved in political organizations. And then Chris and I moved away. We came back. And then the second time that we were back, worked with API again.
Yeah.
And then ran for office, then homeschooled kids. And then when COVID happened, God blessedly allowed Allison and I to connect. My husband's a physician. I got involved with Concerned Doctors. And then from Concerned Doctors, our paths crossed. I started writing for 1819 News op-eds. Then we went to lunch, had a conversation about a podcast. Allison actually got to them first and pitched the idea. The Lord allowed that. And then a radio show. And now we're here, all just kind of in awe of what God has done. But yes, have been a rabble rouser since I was basically a teenager.
That's cool.
And delightedly so. And it's crazy to have the opportunity, and then to come and have the opportunity for this community to gather for hope, for encouragement, and to get back out there every day is not a job that we take lightly.
No, and I can attest to that, the conversations we've had before we got to this point today. But let me jump on you real quick before we get to the break here. So you've also been a rabble rouser. You've got your own organization, local, that was designed to really put people in a grassroots, get active in your community type position, fighting for conservative causes and liberty and all that. Give us a dose of that.
Yeah, well, I was involved in politics when I was growing up in Knoxville, that Union City up there. And actually, the very first campaign I ever worked on was for Tim Burchett, who's now a congressman and one of my favorites.
One of my favorites.
I mean,
the guy's hilarious,
hysterical, and he was just like that. Like, he hasn't changed. I can't get my story out in 1 minute.
Just start your story.
But can I say something else first? That
yes,
really okay. Pause on my story.
All right.
I just have to say this about Amy Beth. When we first met, because every time she says she's Miss Alabama, didn't have any clue who she was, but our kids both went to pre-K together at Briarwood. Okay. So every morning I look homeless taking my kids into K3. I'm just barely making it there.
That's not true.
And every morning I pass this fabulous, just super hot mom who has on her makeup, and I mean, even if she's in a ball cap, she just looks like she looks like Miss America walking down the halls of Briarwood. And every morning I would
her child is always perfectly put together
in her little smock dress, and I would just pass her and be like, someday, maybe in heaven.
Gosh.
Oh,
and
Allison.
it was sweet Amy Beth. And God brought us together, which I think is hysterical, because JP, I'm sorry, we're still like that today. Like, it's like she'll come, like today we're moving some things and she's in heels and I'm like in my tennis shoes. And
I'm informal too.
Yeah, but you're JP.
I'm JP. Yeah.
All right, we're taking a break, JP. We got to take the break because commercials got to run and we're running late. So we're going to do that real quick. We're going to come back and I'm going to give you at least 2 minutes to do your story.
I can do it in 2.
All right, we'll do it. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We will be right back.
Team not too long ago, so he might still be over there, but me and him flew out to pick up those weapons for SEAL Team 3 and escort them back to the West Coast because they landed in at the East Coast at one of the Army bases. And when we flew out to pick those up, they let him fly back with them by themselves because I didn't go on leave when I graduated SQT. I checked in pretty much immediately I was at the team for like a week, painting bathrooms and doing stupid stuff, with a couple of guys. And then we went to to the tail end of the Iraq deployment into that Germany thing. So they said, hey, since you didn't get to go on leave, fly over here with Chris, and y'all pick up those weapons, account for them. I helped him inventory them. He can fly back with them by himself because we're going to have somebody meet him in San Diego, and you can drive home. My mom and dad came and picked me up in North Carolina. They drove to North Carolina, picked me up, and drove me home, and I stayed at home for 7 days. They didn't even charge me any leave for it. They just let me go.
So she was back here. She's an Alabama girl?
She's an Alabama girl.
Okay.
And I met her during that time. My brother and his girlfriend at the time, now wife, somehow connected us, and her family went to my dad's church where he pastored at. We met up, went on one date, and then we just started talking, and somehow the Lord made it happen. 6 or 7 months later, I graduate sniper school, have a big family shoot, and we had been dating. I'd already gotten a ring. I called her. Her dad came up with my dad and brothers because they let him shoot all the sniper guns. They do like a family day. None of the girls came up. It was just my dad, my brothers, and Lauren's dad. And we're fishing in my buddy's pond up there that I'm still friends with, Troy Dehart. And I said, hey, man, or to Greg, my father-in-law, I said, hey, man, I'm going to ask Lauren to marry me if it's okay with you. And he's like, oh, man, you better ask her. Just went back to fishing. That was it. So that was.
He was in his happy place. Why bother him with that?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then about 8 months later, we got married before awesome. I deployed to Afghanistan. So, yeah, she was with me from the start, really, of my SEAL career, almost the start.
Team wife's not easy. I said that a minute ago. My wife, I've said that she's a rock. I mean, I've got multiple deployments, and she held down the fort. And at the same time, I never came home not knowing who my kids' teachers were, what their grades were, what the latest ins and outs of life were, because she made everything just seem so relevant and updated me constantly. Yeah,
man. Yeah, dude,
but she also kept all the bills paid and the yard mowed and the whole thing, man. I mean, but at the same time, you were active duty in the teams. That's a high up tempo life. How was it for her and for the marriage?
I mean, it was good. I mean, she misses the teams a lot of times. She liked because her parents were divorced, and so she bounced around between her grandparents, her mom, her dad, and she's got a good family and had a good life. Close with her brother. Her brother's a good dude. Works for Alabama Power, pretty high up in Alabama Power. But Trent's a good guy, and we have close relationship with him. There's never bad relationship with anybody in the family, or at least on her side. She just wasn't settled. So team guy life for her and team wife life was actually pretty good because she was used to that. Going to be at mom's, going to be at dad's, going with my grandparents. She was used to kind of that bouncing around, and so she would do that, and
God built her for
it. Kind of, it's almost like he kind of knew what she was going to go into, and she would have never thought she'd be that. Now she hates it when I deploy, hates it when I go somewhere. She pitches a fit if I ever say I'm going overseas to do anything. Right? She doesn't, but she was actually pretty good at it. She misses the community team guy life. She does miss that. She even talks about it now. We didn't have kids while I was in the teams. That was one thing. She said she did not want to have kids in the teams because she got to know so many women. We lost dudes all the time, So I say all the time. We lost dudes regularly, and she went to those funerals with me. We went to funerals and put your trident in a coffin, and she knew their wives. And some of these guys had kids, and now daddy's gone from it. She just didn't. For her, of course, we were married. She was 19 at the time. I think I was 22 into 23, around that age range, and we didn't. She just did not want to have kids in that life with me deploying. That was probably the biggest thing, is it being hard to start a family.
Did you have connectivity? I mean, it's crazy, modern deployments. My granddad went to World War II. He was a glider rider.
Talk to anybody.
And he was gone for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I came home when it was done. But did you have connectivity? Could you call home, email, that kind of thing?
We did, whenever somebody would die in country, that, which happened pretty regularly, you go River City, and not be able to talk for a week or 3 until the next of kin was notified.
Right.
I mean, we would still talk some, you call out on sat phone, different things, but generally speaking, it was hit or miss, but we did have connectivity.
And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative and just plain right. Just giving you all the truth you can slap on a bumper sticker. All right, so I'm going right back now. I shortchanged. By the way, I got to say this.
Yeah.
I got to jump in. The lovely Charlene just texted because she does this to me the entire show. She'll text me things.
Aw, she
You forgot to
keeps
say
you
this, right?
straight.
She just finished saying the monkey story is true. You were busy filling out your U.S. attorney forms last night.
Which is a full-time job.
Oh my gosh.
Apparently.
Yeah. All right,
Um,
let's talk about your story. All right, we got some of Ab's story. By the way, Ab's is Amy Beth Shaver. All right,
Oh
thank
yeah,
Abs.
that's good to go ahead and get out of the way.
Yeah,
I
thank
thought you
you.
just had 6-pack abs or something. I didn't know.
She does.
And then it dawned on me, no, that's her initials.
Yeah.
All right, so you've got your story. You had local.
So I did an internship when I was in college in Tennessee. I took a semester off and went and interned with the Tennessee legislature, which actually Alabama should do. We were very helpful. Like y'all have no support down there in Montgomery.
Oh,
It's
my
the
word.
wildest
It's
thing.
true.
And they like everybody had their own assistant, or maybe they, one per two, but y'all down there have like one assistant for 4. It's crazy. And then anyway, I ended up getting married. Jared, my husband, grew up in Vestavia, and we moved back here, started having children, and just became a full-time mom until still a full-time mom, but COVID hit, the 2020 election,
Yeah,
the summer of love.
that was a crazy time.
It was just, I don't know, it was bizarre. And I really hadn't been involved in Alabama politics until that point that I was like, I got to do something. And really, it was a guide. I was listening to a podcast. It was, of all things, Mike Flynn. And I don't know what he was saying exactly, but it was something about how important your local government and your local boards are. And I
Yeah.
started thinking, because at that point during COVID,
You were watching it happen.
your school board decided whether you had to wear masks or not, or your school board decided if you had to quarantine for 10 days or 5 days. If
Uh-huh.
y'all remember how stupid that was.
Or your mayor shut down the grocery store or whatever.
That's right.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's where it is. It's local. And there were so many people at that time that were asking, like, how do I get involved? I don't know how this works. And so literally it felt a little like illegal. I don't think it was, but we would meet like in parks and just grandparents, parents, just people that wanted to do something to help, to kind of speak to and stand in the gap for their kids, especially because you start messing with kids
Yeah.
and the mama bears and the grandmamas and the granddaddies that had never been involved before. Why you keep cutting me? I got
It's
1
JP.
minute.
He runs the
That was
clock.
JP. I mean, okay, so I'm going to be anyway. Okay, so I start local, which just ballooned into this whole kind of movement from across the state. It was awesome. We did a lot. Actually, the very first radio interview ever media that I did was with you.
Yeah.
You
That's
called,
How about
Crazy.
and I was a nervous wreck. And who would have thought?
And you done
That's
good.
kind of weird,
And
actually.
it is kind of weird. You done good. But I'll tell you what, you said something off air. We were talking about, I was going to come back to this and talk about local. And what I liked a lot was you said the very cool thing is almost everything that we set out to accomplish, we got done, and people are all over the place now in their niches getting stuff
Yeah.
done because of what y'all did with local.
And that is really cool. And the point was, find your place, whether it's to run for school board, whether it's to, whatever it is, to be PTO president at your school, whatever, find your place where you can make a difference in your local community. And so we've had so many people, school board, city council, county commission, library board, and it's just been amazing to watch. And
Well, and I think those are the things that make y'all a perfect fit for this. That and more. We'll talk about it when we get back. We're at Rightside 2.0 right now, y'all. Rightside 2.0. We got Abs and Allison, the Mavens of Mayhem, and JP
Love
and
it.
me in studio. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We were on a fob one day, and I was talking to her on the phone on a green line, and a little bit of a delay. We're just talking, and all of a sudden here, the mortar came in, or a recoilless rifle rocket came in and hit, and I was like, hey, I got to go. We got to get to our fighting positions. And she's like, what was that? And he just hung up the phone and bounced. So she did deal with stuff like that she talks about now that she didn't like at the time.
My wife tells the exact same story. I'm sitting on the roof of our safe house in Afghanistan where my team was located on a sat phone talking to her, and all of a sudden something went cha-choom.
Yeah.
And she goes, what was that? I said, Nothing, baby. I'm looking at one of my guys going, what was that?
Yeah, got to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We did have we had the same connectivity, and we had the same comms blackouts if we lost somebody. And I'll never forget, I had a special phone because I did a lot of interconnectivity on my second tour in Baghdad, and we had Sadr City and parts of Rasafa district. And
When were you in Sadr City?
04.
Okay, all right, yes.
But and it was a mess.
Oh,
and we
yeah,
lost some
man.
good guys. But we had one particular day where it was a coordinated ambush. We had IED strikes followed by small arms and RPGs that took out 3 of our guys. And so the comms blackout went in. Well, my wife, the phone that I carried had the ability to call in. And I told her, I said, don't ever call in, hon, unless it's an emergency. If I call you, we'll talk, but don't call me. But if it's an emergency, just know you can. Well, she called that night because she's literally watching the news, looking at patches on the shoulder and realizing, oh my gosh, I think I know where that is. And I think that's Phil's unit. And she called me that night. Oh, it was a rough one.
Yeah.
But it's hard for the wife sometimes being back
Oh yeah,
home.
well, I mean, you got to think you're the one. You're not in the know. You're not in the know, but you're together. It says that's why Scripture tells us that the man leaves his parents so the two can become one flesh. I mean, so you join, you become one flesh, and we're a family. We are, I still have my mom and dad, still respect my mom and dad, but now I am the headship of this, and she is part of that, and we're one flesh. And when you go on these deployments, these wartime deployments, you're pulled apart, and she's living in the unknown all the time. Now, you know what's going on, right? And you're doing it. So that takes a strong person, not just a strong woman, just a strong person in general. When I say person, because you got kids that deal with the same thing too. They're part of that unit, that family unit. I don't say team for family. My wife likes saying team, and I'm like, no, family's not a team. A family's a family, which in my opinion is different than a team. I was a team guy for my entire career. That's what they call us. That's our nicknames, team guys. I know what a team is like. A family's not like a team. It's even deeper. It's more. It's a deeper rooted thing than a team. And a team is pretty deep. We can agree on that. Your family is one level deeper, and that's why we're born into the family of Christ. We're part of God's family in the person of Jesus Christ. It's more than a team. We're not teamed up with Christ. We're in His family. And so I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. Let me ask you, let me segue off that, though. I'm going to chase a rabbit again. So you're a team guy.
Yeah.
And now you got a family, and God saw fit to make sure you had all girls.
Oh, yeah.
So you come from team guy, law enforcement, doing all the alpha male stuff, and yet you go home and you are so outnumbered right now.
Yeah, man. Well, I got a buddy he's got daughters too. He said it just means I was man enough to blow the balls off of them. That's what he always says. So, sorry for the ladies that listen to this, but I always think it's funny. No, man, I wouldn't trade those girls for anything. I mean, it is different. Love my wife, have my wife, but those girls,
How old are they roughly?
9, 6, and 3.
Awesome.
So yeah, we got 9, 6, and 3, and
girls are hard too.
They're hard.
You wait, man, they're gonna be teenagers.
What I've learned, I think, in my brothers have sons, and they also have daughters. So I got nieces and nephews. We have more girls than boys in our family, the grandkids side. So all the cousins, we all get together. It's all girls, and just 4 boys now but there's a baby. He's Bennett is a little over a year. I think he's 18 months. So I say that to say those boys, I've noticed that they're destructive, but they're actually easier as children, is what we notice. I say they're easier as
And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative, just plain right. Covering down on some major ground across the southeast U.S. of A. I won't do it all right now. Just suffice to say, we're in multiple states. We're all over North Alabama, parts of Georgia, Tennessee. Do what?
Yeah, do it.
Do the whole
It's
thing?
impressive. Yeah, do it.
I don't want to do the whole thing.
Okay. He doesn't want to
Covering
do
down
it.
on some major ground across the southeast U.S. of A. Y'all, I'm talking about this show. This one, this right here. This right show goes from Huntsville back on over to Chattanooga. I'm talking about Tuscaloosa back on over to Gadsden. I mean, all the way down to that loveliest little village on the plains we call Auburn, straight across the line from there to what we call, once again, Fort Benning. Big old patches of North Georgia, Mississippi, all thrown in just for good measure. And that's just the radio. And then, oh, by the way, there's all y'all out there in the whole wide world going to the World Wide Web. logging in on the live stream, looking inside the studio, audio and video. I'm talking about places like X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and our website, rightsidemedia.org. And then there's all you podcasters who catch a show after the fact, 368,000 JP downloads of the podcast. All that to say, they made me say it. All that to say, we can see where you log in. We can see where you catch the show. No matter where you catch it, we love you and we appreciate you. You're the reason why we do it. So thank you very much. There, I did it.
That.
We
I
can
did
never, we can never live up.
You can do that.
That's a lot of words.
I don't know where it comes from.
Did you one day sit down and say, or did it just come out?
It just happened.
It just happened.
You know, what's really funny is when he tries to do it and he gets distracted by something on his computer or whatever. And he'll go all the way straight. Sorry, what was I saying? If he gets thrown off at all.
That has happened once or twice, probably literally like a news story, and I'll go all the way to. Oh.
Then do you have to start all the way over?
I don't know what I do.
He normally just goes, anyways. Oh, you know what it means. You know what I mean.
All those places.
Thomas from Athens, who says, I am loving the Mavens of Mayhem. Great transition to Rightside 2.0. Can they pursue the Grand Council 2.0? Listen, okay, that brings up a point.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
What are y'all going to do? I mean, so listen, I will say this, all y'all out there, you Rightside ruffians, they're going to have their own flavor, obviously. So I don't know what y'all intend to do. And by the way, there is no pride of ownership here. You guys make it your own show, obviously. But what do you have in store besides multiple personalities?
Judy.
So we are very philosophically aligned. So as Steve Day says often, worldview is destiny. We talk a lot about worldview, but we'll talk about current events through that lens. We do and have had and will have renamed days of the week that will be great fun, that will help some of the themed shows that we will do. But then we also have specials brought to you by Allison Sinclair called Hot Flash News.
Hot Flash News.
Hot Flash News.
This is like
no, it's a real thing. It's a news roundup. It's sometimes she says, is this real or not? Sometimes it's what's going on, but we're ladies of a certain age, and so we just kind of do what we want. But Hot Flash News is one of those things.
It'll turn out to be one of your favorites. So the premise of Hot Flash News is like, I'll just read a headline and then y'all get to decide if you want to hear more. And if you don't, I move on. And if you do, we dig in. But we just get through some headlines real fast.
Like monkeys in a truck.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll go,
which I thought was fake.
Exactly. So
I wish
perhaps
it was.
We'll have like the Royal Flush or some such. You like the daily.
All right. So, by the way, one of the funniest is your husband is a gastroenterologist.
Yes.
And so they're talking about doing a section in honor of his work and calling it the Daily Dump. I heard that.
I came up with it and I think it's genius.
Hilarious.
It's basically where daily we would just kind of, my thought is we would just kind of rant on whatever was bothering us that day, like whether it was traffic, and we're just going to dump it all out there. Brought to you by Birmingham Gastroenterology.
Is that part of the hot flash moment too?
No, the hot flashes are later.
Yeah, she's later in the show.
Okay.
But yeah, so my daughter was like, well, if people don't want it to be the Daily Dump, you could have the Royal Flush. So at some point,
okay,
we're working with that, but
a lot of lower GI stuff going on.
There is.
I mean, you gotta laugh. You got to make fun of it.
Everybody
poops.
On poo paper yesterday.
I did do a monologue on
what?
Poo paper.
On what?
Yeah, listen, you live in the greatest nation on the face of the earth. I mean, do you think about this? You live in a country, it's first world problems, where they actually specialize. They spend millions of dollars, 5 years worth of research, coming up with ultra smooth, easy tear poo paper.
No.
And that makes it, that's a country worth fighting for. If you live in a country that specializes in having special toilet paper, you live in the first world.
Mm-hmm.
Is this like a federally funded?
Oh no, it was Charmin going big, man, going big.
They did tests and
we actually have one of our listeners that was one of the test families.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
That's in the toilet paper?
What?
Or like the poo paper?
No.
It is paper for poo.
Special paper for.
Yeah.
I think that his office needs to have that and use that exclusively.
Yes.
Just go with Charmin.
Ultra smooth, ultra soft, smooth tear poo paper.
And we started talking about poo paper math and how it doesn't.
Oh yeah,
make
poo
much
paper
sense
math
and-
doesn't make any sense at all.
Mm.
Like how
I'm
can you
really sorry
This
that
is
I did
my
not
kind of
get to hear
show.
that.
look at a package of poo paper and it says 12 equals 96? What does that
Yeah,
even mean? How do you do that? But all right,
Yeah.
so what else are you going to do on the show?
Well, I have to say, I'll take that over. We could live in India.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
So
refrain
let's
from
study all
doing
the
a
poo
voice.
paper.
I'm not
Where
going to do
they
it.
use old Sears catalogs and stuff over there. But anyway,
No, thank you.
I don't know. I mean, we are definitely, I just need to prepare everybody. Like, we have a plan, but none of us were military, so we don't execute always perfectly. so we really we kind of will just whatever the day takes us. We have our outline, but I think our show will be very conversational, and if you agree, that's great, and if you disagree, that might even be better. Like, let's have a conversation about things that are happening. We're not offended if you tell us we have no clue what we're talking about, and this is why we need to believe differently. Like, so I'm hoping it'll be a good conversation. I'm excited about JP because I think he is our kids' age, and that is definitely our hearts as moms, which we were like, we promise we're not going to mom you. We'll bring you some food and
We
do
may
the
try to
things.
find
But
you a wife, but other than that, it's fine.
Aw.
Hey, I'll take food and a wife. That's fine.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Make it part of the contract.
Yeah, we can do that.
Food and a wife, happy life. There
Yes.
you go.
There you go. But we're excited to have him, and I think hopefully you just bring a good perspective of what, like, if we lose y'all, this country is really sunk. And so I think you have a lot to offer. And
Appreciate that.
yeah, JP, do you have any thoughts? What do you
I'm
want to say?
excited. I'm excited. I mean, for sure, after working with y'all for however long we've been working through this, I think it's pretty clear that the Rightside mission is going to carry on very well. And I have confidence in it. And obviously the listeners do too. I mean, we're getting all the text in of approval and everything. So
yeah, it's massive. It's overrun right
I
now.
don't think we've gotten one negative text, actually.
Wow.
So
Not even Kareem?
no, not Kareem yet. I mean, if Kareem wants to call in, if he's listening.
I'm waiting for either Shag Nasty the Atheist or Yellow Dog Mike to check in.
I'm too.
Which would kind of be fantastic. But that's the thing that we love that Allison said that we want to carry on. Now we can do it a little bit better this time because you do have the text line, so there's an ability to kind of roll through a little more quickly. But there are days where we end up taking a topic and really talking it all the way through because our community wants to talk about it. We love that. And I know you do the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I think, like Allison said earlier, this is that place where we have our phone in our hand, but for like 3 hours a day, you can just think through, contribute to what's going on, and then go on with your life. Like, we're your companions, we're your friends. You are the hero of your story. How can we help you in your life? How can we do that? And we do that best by pointing everybody to Christ, which you already do. Learning how to think through the issues, which you already do. And then getting engaged, because we weren't saved to sit and soak. We're saved to run to the battle. And that's what we want to continue focusing on, that Latin phrase, fortune favors the brave. Everybody out here is brave. We're doing the best we can, but that's what we want to do on a daily basis. Also laugh a lot.
Oh yeah. I think you got to laugh. You got to find the reason to laugh. And I anticipate too that audience engagement will be a big part of it because you've already said how much you love that. Because this audience, there are times when I'll do an entire segment and all I did was read people's text messages and respond to it. You realize pretty quickly that when the audience is so engaged that they're helping run the show with you, that's a cool day right there.
By the way, we just got a comment on the YouTube. It says, yes, love hot flash news.
Yay.
People
See,
love
Phil,
that.
Phil, you judged.
I didn't judge.
And you and Charlene are
I
going
was
to
just
tune
asking
in
if it was
every
actual
day.
physical symptom or something I didn't know. So
You're
all
going
right.
to be up in that U.S. Attorney's office. And you're going to be like,
He's going to call us though.
I'm going to call him and say,
Your
my
Honor.
life is so straight right now. My life is so. Can I just come hang out for a while and do hot flash news?
Yes. And the Daily Dump.
And the daily. Well, if you had a morning show, you call it the Morning Constitutional, but we won't do that right now.
Great.
All right, let's do this. We're going to take a break. We're going to take a break right now so we come back and have a decent time left to close out the hour. You guys, we're with Rightside 2.0. It's Allison Sinclair, Amy Beth Shaver, and JP. JP. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Children. they're harder as little children because they're destructive than girls, because girls are not as destructive. But what I've seen now, looking at the teenage side of it, boys just kind of stay the same. You kind of know what you're getting. Yeah, they might be destructive, but boys are just kind of the same all the way through it. Those girls, they shift. There is a shift, and the drama comes in, and I'm already seeing it with a 9-year-old. I can't imagine, the teenage years. I mean, her and my wife fighting over like how our hair is going to be done or clothes. The 3-year-old fighting over shoes. This is what girls do. What I've learned about girls, I actually asked ChatGPT this. I said, why do girls...
You went to the Oracle.
I went to the Oracle, ChatGPT. Why do girls always leave the drawers open? And ChatGPT, is that something in your house?
Yeah.
Dude, I am going to have a panic attack over drawers and cabinets in the house. It's pure laziness, I think, is what it is. A lack of discipline and laziness.
I refuse to affirm or deny anything that you just said.
But it's just like a clutter bomb. I would almost rather stuff just be destroyed. It's just like a clutter bomb of mess, all this little knick-knack crap everywhere, drawers open. That, to me, that's what drives me up a wall, right? And it's not just it's my wife and all of my daughters. So I got
but
4 women
wait
to do it.
until she's 14 and the boy comes around.
Oh yeah, I don't even want. I'm not even thinking about that.
So
now.
my daughter, who's grown and married now, my daughter, I'll never forget one of her first boyfriends. So my dad, career Army, highly decorated, 2 tours in Vietnam. My granddad, career general officer when he retired, the whole thing. So the kid comes over to meet the family. Granddad comes in. My dad, who was probably less sensitive than me in many ways and some of this stuff, he's passed away now. Agent Orange finally caught up with him. But Dad walks in, looks at him and goes, "Oh, look, are you the guy?" And we apparently have a father and a grandfather, both trained to kill. How do you like that?
Yeah,
that was his introduction to the family.
Yeah.
But well, let me ask you this too. Being a team guy, did you ever have that moment where you came home and you're like in team guy, because you're like living in a locker room for a year on deployment.
Yeah.
I mean, you go over there and it's all rough cut humor and maybe crass talk and things. And then you walk back in the house and it's the wife and 3 little girls.
Yeah.
And do you have to retool yourself?
I won't say you retool yourself. You just flip a switch on or off. I can be more like me in front of my wife, than I, and that's okay. And she just gets mad at me, she'll get mad at me for saying certain things. But as far as the girls, yeah, no, it's definitely a shift because of their age, right? Yeah. There is an age thing, and I get that. But 2, because they are girls, and so it's just a switch you flip on or off. Like one of my, I don't know why, but the little one, I don't know who she heard it from one of her cousins, but she started calling everybody like the word that she used. She calls them a fartism. I don't know what a fartism is. I don't know, but she heard it from one of her cousins, I think, or maybe her older sister. She calls everybody a fartism. I said, hey, little girls don't use the word fart, and my oldest daughter, she says, "I've heard you say it, Daddy." And I say, "Yeah, I've said it." And I said, "But it's different for boys and girls." And my wife said, "It's the same for anybody." I said, "Okay, I'm gonna stop you because you're wrong." I said, "Can a little boy hit any little girl?" No. All the girls go. And I said, "Now, what about little girls? Do they hit little boys?" You go, "Yes, we can." Mom was like, "No, you don't hit little boys neither." But I said, but you see, we view it as different. Just as society views a little boy hitting a little girl or a man hitting a woman is different, society views what comes out of a young lady's mouth different than what comes out of a young man's mouth. It doesn't mean that it's right or wrong, but it's the reality of what is. And it's a scriptural principle. It says, abstain from the appearance of evil. And for a young woman, abstaining from the appearance of evil, my wife could punch me in the eye and nobody would care. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I'm saying as a law enforcement officer. Because honestly, she might black my eye. A buddy of mine, him and his wife got in a fight, and he came to work. I was actually just training with him the other day. He's going back to the agency to do some stuff, but we're at in the SEAL teams, and he come to work with a little bit of a black eye and a little cut right here. And we're like, "What happened to you?" He said, "Bro," he said, "me and my wife got in a fight," and he said, "I said something." And he said, "She just punched me in the eye." I just started laughing, and it was funny. Right? We laugh at that. But if he was to
if he had punched her,
if he had hit her, he probably would have broke her orbital. I mean, he could have actually. I mean, there's a good chance that if
he probably would have walked off the team too.
Oh no, not off the team. He'd been in jail. There'd been a whole process. But what I'm saying is, there's a level of difference because he can actually physically hurt her really bad. I don't care who the chick is out there. There are very few chicks. You might have a few that like are fight trained or whatever, but most chicks hit a dude. Yeah, you might hurt me a little bit, but you need an object to be an equalizer.
Yeah.
Most dudes hit a chick, you're gonna hurt them really bad. So I say all that to say it is different and it's viewed differently.
Oh dear.
And we are back. Phil Williams, Right Side of Radio. Solid, conservative, and just plain right. Just bulletproof influence, y'all. Bulletproof influence. All right. So just so you know, ladies, Tom with all the kids in Huntsville, I guess he heard that you have a lot of, you have daughters. He says, I got 3 boys need wives. They're 24, 25, and 30 years old.
Oh, okay. 3 boys. Wait. Say those ages
24, 25, and 30. Wait, she's taking this serious.
Yeah, I was thinking. Well, I mean, the 17-year-old's probably out. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. She's almost 18.
I've got an 18.
And then I got a 21-year-old. Tom, that is a whole thing. You got. Oh, so the rest are girls, and he has to pay for the weddings.
I don't know, but all I
They
know.
should buy a
maybe
wedding
some
venue
of the,
now.
Yeah,
They do need to buy a wedding venue,
Oh,
or just
We're planning a wedding presently. Well, sort of. The in-law, y'all.
it's
You
a
need
thing.
to think about going into that business, okay? Because
Oh,
kids do not get
listen.
married in the church anymore. They get married at the places.
Oh, I have some friends right
Oh.
now who are at a destination wedding in Spain. I'm like, who does that? Spain?
Spain?
Like, okay, so here's the invitations. We expect you all to be there. By the way, they had to bring outfit for different days.
Oh,
So
that's a
Ooh.
lot.
Okay.
wow,
What happened to punch in the fellowship hall?
that's why Charlene and I got married.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. And 39 years later, loving
Here
life.
you are.
I say
That's
we
right.
bring it back.
We honeymooned in Gatlinburg. Thank you very much.
You know what?
Because it's what we could
Oh,
afford.
the
Yeah,
Gatlinburg.
it's the
Um,
whole thing.
It was the whole thing. Hey, let's wrap some comments. All right, so JP, they're gonna be heading out here in a few minutes because we're gonna do grand council. But closing thoughts, dude. As you listen, you got some life change coming on.
I'm excited because I know this was God's doing. So I'm having faith in that, and I'm very excited about working with the ladies moving forward. And my JP stamp of approval is being issued. So there you go.
Aw.
Thanks, JP.
It's gonna be so
Uh,
fun. Yeah,
Alison.
Allison. There's so much comfort when things like this happen that you were never striving for. Like I've said several times, I could have never even dreamt up this idea. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like when my husband and we got pregnant 5 months after we got married. That was not in the plan, but you're like, okay, I didn't make that. This is obviously what God has for us. And there's a lot of confidence that you can walk in that. I have no clue how to own a business. Like I need somebody's business for dummies, whatever that book is, but we're going to figure it out. And I'm super excited. And I just have the confidence that God brought us here clearly, and he will continue to sustain us. And well, if we fall on our faces, it was fun. And I've loved these past few I'm just kidding. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. But I just think I'm very humbled and honored, and I'm going to get teary. Okay. Anyway, I just really appreciate you and you having confidence in us, and for you to sit with us and kind of pass the baton. It means a lot. We're just very open-handed and we're just walking. And I think it's a good place for all of us to be. I know you're having to do the same going into your office. Probably not anything you ever dreamt. And yet you can go confidently. So we're really excited for you. And I think it's pretty cool that we know you.
Yeah.
We're
We know that guy.
He was on the White House website and Donald Trump said his name or something. And so it's going to be an honor to watch you and follow you. And we do hope that you will come back and hang out with us, that we don't embarrass you too much.
That's my goal.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Abs, what are you thinking? Closing comments.
So can you imagine that at our age, the Lord would let these kinds of things happen to any of us? The things that you never, ever thought would happen because maybe life was looking different and it was a great life. And then Lord interrupts things and says, here's where we're going to go now. And we're going to take this ride, and you're going to have to trust me because I've exercised your faith wings enough, because y'all are all old. I've exercised your faith wings enough. It's time to fly. But you also know by this time that, like I said earlier, unless the Lord does do this, it will not happen. And he's called you for such a time as this. You laid this foundation, and you saw fit to, I mean, like that your wife said that on that day in that place at that time. Nothing in God's economy is wasted. Nothing.
Yeah.
And so we will attempt to fill your shoes, but we really can't. We're going to make our way in your path while watching you do your thing, which is incredible. It's ridiculous, really, because of the life that you've lived. And so we really don't take that lightly. And we really don't take it lightly that there's a community of people already here that are engaged and ready to go and to continue the work. And so we're thrilled about that. We're humbled by it. I think so many times back and forth, we're like, what in the world? A lot of tears, just because sometimes that's the only way to get out the terror and the delight. But here we go. And we're excited to take this ride and this journey with all you good people. We need you more now than ever. We're counting on you to text in, call in, let us know what you think. We want to have that kind of show that you've already had, and do it, encouraging us all in the way that we should go. And that's the way of bravery and honor, or as the meme on Facebook is, or reel right now on Insta is saying, strength and honor.
Strength and honor. Listen, I said before, and I meant what I said, that Charlene and I considered this to be not just a transition out of a business opportunity. It's not like I'm, selling a widget company or something. It's an ideological thing. You have to know that you're leaving Rightside Radio with the right people who are going to take it, further. I feel good about it, or we wouldn't be sitting here right now. I do. I really do. And that's I can tell you right now for a fact. I slept like a baby in Baghdad. Man, didn't bother me a bit. And the last few months have had nights where I laid in bed at night thinking, so what's going to happen, God? What are we doing here? Is something going to, are you going to break something loose so I can see it? Or is it we're just going to fold the tent and say, well, that was neat. And then saw you guys that night at Eagle Forum. By the way, anybody who's ever been to an Eagle Forum dinner, you're pretty ideologically aligned if you're in the same room at an Eagle Forum dinner. And so I'm giving this like my full stamp of approval, not just for you to hear me say it on the air, but for the audience to hear it. This is exactly what we were hoping for, Charlene and I. This is exactly what we were hoping for. And I'll tell you too, part of the prayer was for you, JP. I'm pointing my finger at you. People in the audience can't see it, but I'm pointing my finger at you because I was hoping for this, not just for us to be able to exit in a way that I felt like the microphone was safe and that the business was going to continue and the mission would be, tops, but that this guy over here would have a place in it. And then lo and behold, he comes to me one day and goes, do you think they'll keep me if you think I can be a part of the business with them? Shoot, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I sold you like a slave, dude. But no, it's been good. I love it. Mavens of Mayhem. Y'all kick off on Monday on your own. Yes, in the meantime, I got to go to a break. Love y'all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, we're taking a break. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. Phil Williams here. I want to remind you that Inspire Advisors is one of our sponsors, and they are doing amazing work. Look, I know this audience. You're the kind of folks who believe in standing up for your principles. You're good stewards of your resources. But what if the companies you were investing in don't reflect your values at all? Well, that's why you need to meet Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors. Because Inspire Advisors, they are experts in the field of biblically responsible investing. They can help you grow your bottom line while also be proud of what companies you're investing in. Inspire Advisors, check them out. Their website, www.moneypatternwealth.com, and tell them you heard about it on Rightside Radio.
Reason we view a guy that hits a girl is extremely bad, and a girl that hits a guy we don't think much of. We don't think much about. You view a guy that has a bad mouth, we might be like, I don't like hanging around that guy because all he does is talk bad all the time. I don't think he's a Christian. But think of the girls that you know that have a filthy mouth. You view them differently. And so that's one thing that I try to teach my daughters. That's one thing I learned from the SEAL teams, you know, and trying to flip that switch on and off is there still is a difference, regardless of how our society wants to blur the lines. There's a difference in how we view it. There's a difference in how people view it. And it's important to understand and uphold that difference.
And stepping back in the house, though, I mean, the decompression piece is good.
Yeah.
That was the place where, like you said, you can be yourself around your wife more than you can anywhere else.
And it's
and
that never was hard for me, though. That was never it was for
no,
some guys,
not me
but
either.
not for
But
me.
it was great. It was wonderful to walk back in and go, ugh.
Oh yeah. That's what it was. It was a relief. I mean, it was almost
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah, that's it.
But I do recall one time I'd been back from one of the deployments, not long, and we're late for church. And my daughter, who I think is 10 at the time, is still in the bathroom. And I go up to the door, and she's in the bathroom. And I called her Tootie when she was little. I said, Tootie, pinch it off. We have to go. And my wife leans down the hall and goes, did you just tell your sweet little girl to pinch it off? And I went, I did.
Yeah.
So I had to retool some of my, to recalibrate some of my lexicon.
What you say, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. And I'm gonna switch gears here a little bit. Would you? Because I see the things that are in your life. I see the way you talk about your family. I see the way you talk about your faith. Obviously, I can imagine. I mean, my training was a lot different than yours, but I can imagine the dedication and the resilience it took to do the things you did militarily, combat deployments, what you're doing now with your businesses, which I'll get into in a minute. You consider yourself to be a mission-minded person?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, and I think that might just be a thing that men have maybe more so than, let's say, women. Women, and I've learned a lot about women because I have a wife and 3 girls. I'm around them now, so they're very relational. And we have a HR person that works for us. I've known her for a long time at Covenant Rescue Group. She's kind of our office manager in HR. Unbelievably relational. That's why we hired a female for that role. And men are not. And I would say one step further, I already have that more of mission mindset or complete the job mindset or whatever you want to call it. I would take it one step further with me. I do cherish relationships I have and friendships I have, but at the same time, the mission supersedes the man sort of thing. That's kind of I definitely lean more to that than I do relationally, which is why I think God gave me 3 girls, is He's teaching me how to probably balance the relationship and the mission a little bit better than I have in the past.
All right, so
that's a long-winded answer.
No, it's a good answer. But let me take it a step further. So mission-minded. I mean, like for instance, me, radio, podcasting, practicing law. Those are things that I do, but I feel like I've got a calling that makes those things possible. So in the mission-minded kind of theme of this discussion, how would you take all the things that you do and say, I do them because my calling is?
Well, it's ultimately to present Christ to everybody we come in contact with. That's what I believe. The eternal is far more important than the things that are not eternal. And what is eternal? The only thing that's eternal is who we are in Jesus, right? And so I do believe every aspect of my life, whatever it is, wherever I find myself, I'm going to work as hard as I can so people say, wow, you know what, his actions show something different about him, right? But that's not good enough. I have to let them know what the different thing is, and that is Jesus. That's why I generally share the gospel, anywhere we go. Anybody you ask that's worked with us. I had a guy from a church call and say, hey, so how does CRG share the gospel? We're not a Christian-based nonprofit. We're just a normal 501c3. I just happen to be a Christian who's the CEO of a nonprofit, and we have a bunch of Christians that work for us, and we'll share the gospel. Say, hey, guys, look, we're not a Christian-based nonprofit, but this is what we believe. If you need prayer, if you need anything, we do that with law enforcement agencies. So that is the mission. Here's the importance behind it, and Jesus does this perfectly. I do not. You're asking, I use the mission versus relational, mindset, and this is a good segue into it. Jesus succeeded in fulfilling the mission that relationally a lot of people didn't want him to do. That was to go down on the cross. So he succeeded in fulfilling the mission. Obedience to the Father, obedience to the point of death. Job 13:15, though he slay me, I will trust him. But he did it for the relationship with mankind. It was the perfect mix of the mission and the relationship. And that should be who we are. So the mission is, as a Christian, share Christ with everybody, because that is the only perfect mix of mission mindedness and relational mindedness, the relationship mindedness. Now, my wife and my girls, unbelievably relationally minded. We'll let the house burn down around us, but if we can go on vacation as a family, then that's what we're going to do. And it's like, well, okay, we can't do that every other week. We're not billionaires that can go and do all this. But let me tell you what, they'll do that. And every one of my buddies say their wives are the same way, right? When can we go do this with the kids? It's just, and the movie that I like to use an example. Have you ever seen Old School? You know the movie Old School?
Oh, yeah.
So Vince Vaughn is in there. He's like, you sure you want to do this, bro? They're up on stage to get married. She's like, yeah, what are you talking about? Be quiet. And he goes, no, you sure you want to do this? I mean, look at her. There's my wife down there. She's holding the baby. Look, she's just sitting there watching, judging. Look at the baby. As a unmarried guy, I never got that part. I mean, I always thought it was funny the way Vince Vaughn talks, just watching me, judging me, look at the baby. Now that I'm married, 100% get it, because that's it all the time, and because they're so the family.
Alabama and Tennessee syndicated news talk leader, Rightside Radio. Phil Williams here live in the Rightside studios. Man, we got the local, the state, the national, sometimes the international. And oh, yeah, like the dude just said, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Well, welcome to hour number 3 on Hump Day. On the day that we hear the camel, it's also the day that we turn to hour number 3's Grand Council. So let me go ahead and call the roll and see if my brethren are here. So we got from 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN up yonder in the Huntsville region, host of the Dale Jackson Show, does a gig with Yellowhammer, has a gig on TV. Dale Jackson, are you there? You are indeed. Stand at ease. All right, and then turning southward to the Gulf of America, host of the Jeff Poor Show on FM Talk 106.5, editor-in-chief of 1819 News. Jeff Poor, are you there?
I am present.
You are indeed. I'm glad of it. I pronounce a quorum. Hit it, man.
Assemble the Grand Council.
Ba-da. Ba-da. All right, fellers. Well, first of all, I am going to go ahead and say that Grand Council was actually an accident that occurred when I was beta testing this show 4.5 years ago, and the power went out, and I called Dale Jackson in a panic. I said, dude, my power went out. And he jumped on the show. He got me on the phone, Jeff on the phone, and we did this ad hoc thing. And I thought, I'm going to do that every week. That was awesome. So you guys have been Grand Counseling with me for 4.5 years, and I want to tell you in front of God and everybody how much I appreciate it, and I've enjoyed it. It's been a huge part of the show, so thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Excited to see what you're going to go do and how we can use it to our advantage.
And I expect nothing less from the likes of you. All right, you guys. Well, listen, as always, we ask questions of each other. We see where we stand on the issues. Dale Jackson, since you spoke up, you're first. What you got?
I don't know how relevant this is or not, but let's just say I received some sort of subpoena to appear before the United States Senate to answer some questions. Do I have to respond to that?
Subpoena before the United States Senate. Yes, typically you do, because subpoenas are things called mandatory. It's mandatory appearance. You can actually
we better talk offline then. That might be something we might want to have a conversation about. On a serious front, here for a second. Let me ask you this question. Donald Trump has once again said, look, I'm not allowed to run for a third term. Everyone knows he's trolling on this. How long are we going to just do this until he finally dies and can't run ever again?
There is trolling, and then there's Trump trolling. The man is a genius when it comes to pushing the buttons of the never Trumpers who just live for the next opportunity to freak out about anything the man said. Never mind how much he's accomplishing. Oh my God, he might try to run for a third term. Listen, Trump trolling is like epic next level. We're going to keep talking about it. Because I got nothing else. So if you notice, they're not talking about issues. They sure don't want to address their shutdown. They need to grab hold of something like, he might run for a third term. So I don't think we're done with it. I think they'll ride that train just as long as the track keeps going. Jeff?
Yeah, it is trolling. I just it feeds this beast though, and it makes my ears kind of bleed a little with he's an authoritarian, he's a king, he's a dictator. I just Trump feeds it, but I mean, how do you feel about it? It's just noise to us. Does it really matter? Or I mean, do I just watch too much cable news? I guess.
You know what's funny too? Added to the fray, the other day he sent them into a tizzy because he intimated that he might want to run for vice president because that might not be prohibited.
He also said that JD Vance and Marco Rubio would be a ticket that would be hard to beat. Like he made that argument, and then they just glanced over it and right back to he could run again. He's building a bunker underneath the East Wing, and it's so he can hide there and stay there and never leave. And it's just like, guys, come on.
Yeah, I listen. The bottom line is, the man has a good time doing what he does. He's living his best life. I mean, the guys, you can tell he's in his element every single day, and part of his element is making sure that the people who are freaking out. If you know what, it's like George Wallace used to say, as long as they're talking about you and they spell your name right, it's still good PR. All right, next question, Jeff. What do you got?
I need you to confirm, Senator, that on the heels of this big announcement in Montgomery, that Donald Watkins has now withdrawn his name for consideration to be Stephen Reed's Director of Small and Minority Business Development, that you're not in the mix for that position.
To the best of my knowledge, I am not in the mix for any job with Stephen Reed's administration. That is confirmed. I'm announcing it for the first time here. JP can have some applause. I don't intend to work for Stephen Reed. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Is that out of your jurisdiction?
Yeah, that would. Okay. Yeah, it's too much of a commute, man. It was too hard.
I didn't mean that. I meant out of your U.S. attorney jurisdiction.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
No comment. So anyway, why? What's your point, Jeff?
Oh no, Donald Watkins is no longer under consideration. So he withdrew, and then Stephen Reed kind of gives a belligerent statement here. I want to make clear that this decision is not a reflection of his qualifications, experience, or passion for the city of Montgomery. And then he rambles on some more about that. So if not Donald Watkins Jr., I mean, maybe he'll make his dad Joe Reed or somebody like that. Where do we go from here?
What was the position, and why do we even care? What did for small business administration director for the city of Montgomery or something like that? What was it?
Small and minority business development. So yeah, it was that, and there's millions and millions of people in this country, and Don Watkins Jr.
We all
was
know
like
what it was
his
about.
leading guy.
Look, in Alabama, Jeff and I know this, and Phil Williams, you know this as well.
Oh yeah,
that his father has this stupid blog that is read by all the right black politicians and educators in the state, and they're afraid of it. They are absolutely terrified of this thing, and for some reason, there are some people on the right in the political spectrum that read it as well, and they're all afraid of it. That's what it's all about. This was just, I'm going to buy you off through your kid. That's all that was, in my opinion.
Well, that must mean there's some story out there they're suppressing. If that's the case.
Well, no. You maybe just want to keep him quiet altogether. You don't have to worry about him at all. And it's not necessarily about silencing something in particular. It's about silencing anything in the future.
So the bottom line is, I don't think we're going to hear any more about this because it was a non-story wrapped in a story.
Well, also that I want to ask Jeff this real quick on this. Jeff, I say it's about killing something in the future, maybe, or is it about hiring an attack dog? You pay his son cuts his dad some of the money, and his dad goes on the attack.
I just think it's just cronyism. I mean, the two are tight; they're friends, and you got to get
my conspiracy is out of bounds. Right?
Well, you've way overthought it.
Okay. I put more thought into the Stephen Reed.
I don't know. I gotta lean to Dale. I think there's a backstory somewhere in this one. I really do.
I get corruption. I'm a fan.
Oh, he went on Capital Journal. It was talking about how the two of them, when they were kids, at their picture with Rosa Parks, and how he said to Todd Stacy that if anything, Donald Watkins Jr. is overqualified for the position. And you see, they just did
he really get his picture? Man. Did they get a picture together with Rosa Parks? Did we see the picture? Was it real? It wasn't AI.
If it wasn't, if they had camera phones back then, we'd have had a lot more of them.
All right. Speaking of Montgomery, let me get my question before we run out of time. Soon to be Governor Tommy Tuberville has said that he would bring in the National Guard in Montgomery. He's urging Trump to go ahead and say, send the National Guard. We got to get Montgomery fixed. It's our state capital. We had a By the way, I'll wrap a question with a question. the issue of Tuberville saying National Guard from Montgomery, but then the other question I have is, why did that mass shooting not get more press? Because I really feel like it was the most underreported big shooting that we had in like the nation. 14 people injured, 2 dead, all in one mass group in downtown Montgomery, just blocks away from our Capitol building. So National Guard and underreported, Dale.
Black on black mass shootings is not news.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry. It's just not. It's just like violence in the Middle East. No Jews, no news. In this particular point, it just doesn't matter. I mean, go look around. We can find, I guarantee you, a 3-second Google search while Jeff's talking will turn up a story where 3 or more gunmen hurt 10 or more people in the last 2 days somewhere in an inner city somewhere. And that's why it's not big news. It's big news when it happens at a school. It's big news when it happens at a fair. It's a big news when it goes on like that. But downtown Montgomery, in a city that's already riddled with crime, I mean, isn't it just another Saturday night?
Wow, Jeff.
And there's no like Second Amendment gun grab angle, right? There's nothing they can do to bolster their anti-gun movement. I do have one kind of side question here. I thought the Glock switch ban was supposed to stop all this.
Yeah, no doubt. That was going to clean up the streets of Birmingham and Montgomery, and what happened, mass shooting. I look at the whole thing, and I think what you're really seeing is you don't report the stories. I mean, you said black on black crime gets underreported. I think blue city crime gets underreported. I think the press
literally
is
the same
desensitized.
thing, though.
Oh, okay. I think what we're looking at is the press is A, desensitized to it, and B, needs it to not be feeding into an alternate narrative than the one they already want. And so I look at the Montgomery story as being one that got way underreported. Like it should have been more. I think our state government should have made more of it. But the other piece of this is Tuberville calling in the National Guard. We got about 30 seconds here. Yay or nay, Dale?
Absolutely. Sooner the better.
Jeff?
Yeah, he said he would have if he were governor already, is what he told me.
Yep. I'm thinking go for it because National Guard in the streets actually appears to work. They're a great augmentation for us. All right. Man, that's round 1. All right, round 1, Grand Council. Y'all stay tuned. Round 2 with Jeff Poor, Dale Jackson, just little old me. We'll be right back.
Relationship is what they are so in tune with.
Oh yeah.
for
So we're
us-
grandparents now, by the way.
So even more so.
And my wife's grandmom name is Sweetie, which is
Yeah.
a perfect fit.
What's your grandpa name?
Cap?
Cap.
I'm Cap.
All right.
Cap
all
and
right.
Sweetie. But Sweetie told me yesterday, if we don't get down to see the grandbaby sometime soon, I'm gonna lose my mind.
It's like, hey,
And I want to see them too. But for her, it is way beyond
Exactly.
anything I could ever put my finger on.
But for you, it's your work. It's this mission. And it might be sharing the gospel, and you have to find that perfect mix of it. And that's why I bring that up, is because the mission mindedness that I have, it would go too far one way, and I would work all the time. The relational mindedness that my wife has, it would go too far the other way, and we wouldn't have a dime to spare because we'd be vacationing down at the beach condo every other weekend, right? And so you have to bring those two things together, and the only way they're brought together, and you mentioned it, what is the point of the mission? Sharing the gospel, because that's the only thing that helps these two things correlate or coalesce appropriately.
Awesome. Let me jump into your team time a little bit. I want to hear about it just for a few. Time in the teams. Let me ask you first of all, why Navy? I mean, was that like the lifelong?
No.
I'm going to be a Navy SEAL.
No. I actually want to be an Army Ranger. How about that,
Hey.
right? Yeah. So, or a Marine sniper. Saw that movie with Tom Berenger. Remember that movie, Sniper, with Tom Berenger? I always wanted to be a sniper, Marine sniper, and then after seeing Black Hawk Down, I was like, I want to go be an Army Ranger.
Nice.
My dad took me down to recruiting office, and I was like, Dad, I'd become a firefighter. I was 18 at the time. I turned 19 before I actually went into the Navy. I said, hey, Dad, I think I need to do this. Dad just said, hey, if you're going to do something, not that military service is not special, but do something different. If you're going to go get a degree, get a master's degree. Go the whole route. If you're going to go to the military, do something special, do special operations. And Bush had just done the the contract. You go Ranger, X-ray for the Green Beret, SEAL contract, PJ. So it was the SOCOM contract.
Call them SF babies.
Yeah, so when you're trying to up that number, so you don't have guys in the regular military going over there just trying to get anybody they can, get the top candidates. So I went and did that, and the hardest test, it was actually SEAL, Air Force for the PJ and the combat controllers. Then it was the Army for the X-ray, and then Ranger contract, or I think now it's called RASP, if I remember right, to actually go to battalion. And then finally was the Marine Corps had an 0311, 0311, their infantry contract, where you could go to screen for MARSOC after, I think, 1 year in the infantry. So somebody's probably listening. They could tell me where I'm wrong.
Were the Raiders standing up by then?
Yeah, they were. They had just, I think it was 2005 that they had started standing the MARSOC Raiders up out of Force Recon. Not Recon. Everyone's like, oh, Marine Recon. Recon is a regular infantry, battalion that do some, different things. But I'm talking about Force Recon, their Special Operations Command. You get a contract for any of those. And SEAL was the hardest. So I just said, all right, Lord, I'll do the SEAL, and if I pass that test, because I had to swim, the run was a little bit harder, had to do more pull-ups.
Were you a big swimmer before you got there?
No, not at all. I could.
Really?
I mean, I could swim. I wasn't going to drown if I fell in the lake, but I wasn't a swimmer. I didn't.
You weren't drown-proof to that point.
I was not drown-proof, and so I said, if I can pass this thing, that's the route I'll go. And it was physical, and then the written test. You had to score so high on your ASVAB, which is easy, and I did that, and I passed it, and I said, all right, Lord, I guess this is the route you want me to go. I got a contract. And, when I got the contract, I started training for 6 to 8 months, had nobody, didn't know any SEALs, didn't know anybody. I didn't know what to do. So I just kept running. I would run a lot. I knew it was a lot of running. I was running probably 16 miles 2 times a week. And then in the other times I was running shorter distances, 3 and 4 miles every day a week, just training. Pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, doing that. My dad said, hey, you don't have to work. If you're going to go do this, good job, son. Live at my house, eat my food, and train and be ready. And then I'd go up to my buddy's lake house, and I would tread water with a boat anchor. I couldn't tread water with a boat anchor initially, but I got to where I could tread water with his boat anchor. Those little John boat anchors. There's not much weight, probably 15 pounds or something, maybe a little bit more than that.
Yeah, but.
And I would let it down with a rope, and I would tread water. As I'd pull that 20-foot rope up, I'd let it down to the bottom under his pier, and I'd pull it up. I'd hold it over my head and tread, and then I'd let it back down, and that's what I would do. You can see he's over here laughing because I'm sitting here kicking my little feet like I'm doing it, right? And I would do that to train, and then a buddy of mine had a pool, and I would go swim in their pool every day of the week. I just swim laps back and forth.
How long was this self-training going on before you went down?
6 months, so it's probably about 6 months.
So what's
maybe a little bit longer.
I don't know the answer to this. What's the pipeline? So you took a SEAL contract, obviously.
Well, it's changed. It's changed a little bit now. So I'll tell you my pipeline, because the pipeline shifts about it seems like it shifts every 2 years. I got a contract.
And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Solid, conservative, just plain right. Just saving the world one soundbite at a time. All right, we're back to round 2 with the Grand Council. Jeff Poor, Dale Jackson, and me. All right, second round, first question. Dale Jackson, what you got?
Well, I want to go back to what we were talking about a second ago, and I want to hit on the thing about there was another shooting last week at Lincoln University, I believe in Arkansas. Same exact situation. HBCU event, multiple shooters, dead, just a complete mess, almost absolutely no coverage. All right. Anyway, back to the issue, the SNAP stuff. Everyone's saying do it. Let more people be a part of it. Let's go ahead and let's let the states fund this thing. Any chance Alabama does that?
Jeff?
I don't know, but maybe probably not though. The legislatures aren't typically aligned with the governor, right? So it's I guess it depends how bad it gets. Could we see something bad happen, and then maybe, but it's hard to see a scenario right now.
The only way I can see it happening, granted, we have surplusage and we also have a rainy day fund in Alabama, but most of that involves legislative action. They can't just do it without coming into session, so there has to be a special session for it. And then at the same time, I think that I don't think the world believes this shutdown can go on much longer, to be honest. And I would be shocked. Right now, I think Bessent said this morning, Treasury Secretary Bessent said this morning that we're looking at SNAP has got a couple more weeks left in it. Like November 15th is when it could go really like downhill. And if that's the case, if this thing is finished in the next 2 weeks, we're good. And even if it's not finished in the next 2 weeks, I don't think any legislature is going to jump into session the very day SNAP's running out. I think they're going to wait and see if it's going to go up.
Wait, are they going to send a check out on the first?
I thought I heard that we had a little bit more left in SNAP to go. Did I read that wrong?
Is it possible they're waiting for the off-cycle elections to go by?
I said that yesterday.
Then we come back and make a deal.
I said that yesterday. I said that yesterday that they were. I think that part of the backstory here is they want to see how they do in the Virginia election and in the New York mayoral election. And if they come out with a landslide victory in the Democrat way, they're going to consider themselves to be champions. And if they lose big or lose at all, they're going to go, guys, we got to wrap this up. We're killing ourselves. Dale, what are your thoughts?
No, I don't think that many legislatures are going to get in there and put their own money in. I don't
think so either right now. I think it's too soon for that. And I don't think it's going to happen. Next question, real quick. What you got, Jeff?
How you feel about chairman of the Republican Party here in Alabama, John Wall, kind of play diplomacy with the Alabama Education Association? Well, I would argue there's a lot of reasons they don't operate in good faith. But he's getting assurances from these guys that they're not going to touch home schools. Do you trust these guys, sort of figures of the conservative movement here in Alabama?
What was the last part of your question? Do I trust them? What about conservatives? What?
As part of the conservative movement here in Alabama, do you trust the AEA?
No. I use this term sparingly. I have said before that the AEA, the teachers union, is one of the most evil organizations in the state of Alabama. And I don't say that lightly. I don't throw it out there like it's a brand that I use for everybody I don't like. If I say they're evil, then it's only because I got personal experience that tells me this is an evil organization. You cannot trust them. Don't turn your back on them. They will shaft you in a heartbeat. At the same time, they will also demand everything they want and give you nothing in return. They are all about their agenda, which has nothing to do, by the way, with education. Did I make myself clear enough, Dale?
Well, I think you're right. This is why it's so funny to watch how they're navigating the real world. Live by the sword, die by the sword. They made it clear they want to knock out every Republican out of every race and every seat at every opportunity. That's how the teachers unions operate. And then as soon as the elections are over and they lose because they're hated, they're like, hey guys, can't we work together? And anyone who goes, yeah, sure, is an idiot. I mean, it's really that simple. Who cares what they want? If it happens to align with something that I want, great. But I'm not listening to them if I'm a member of the legislature. I've proven I don't need them. I beat them.
Yeah,
I'm not going to help them.
And I'll tell you right now, I lived through the AEA wars. Part of my concern is that the current Republican group in Montgomery, some of whom are rock solid people, I get it, they're conservatives, but they were not there for what I call the AEA wars. They were not there when we were having to fight, and we were getting like, all kinds of, I'm talking about bully tactics. I don't mean like a little bit. I mean, like it was shameful the way they acted, the way they mobilized.
But now they're selling the whole, we're nice. Most of our members are conservative guys. Oh, come on. It's just not believable to anyone that knows.
It is not. Hey, listen, I got one last question for you, 30 seconds. Real quick. Do you think that this is the week the shutdown ends or no, Dale?
I think it's over by Monday, but you guys made a pretty good argument about taking it past the election. But it looks like everything's working against them at this point. Why would they want this to be dangling over those elections?
No kidding, Jeff.
Yeah, and then to back up Dale's point, I think they're going to win those races with or without the shutdown, right? So I don't know, but they're paranoid enough to stick with it.
We'll see. I'm thinking that we've got about another week of this. I don't think they'll go all the way to mid-month paycheck time. I think they'll stop before they get there. But that's my thoughts. Hey, fellas. As always, I appreciate you more than you can possibly know. Both of y'all have taught me a lot. This is my last week. This is the last opportunity for Grand Council. But I just want you to know how much you both have meant to me the last 4.5 years. Dale, thanks for giving me a chance, buddy.
Yeah, I don't think I've been praised enough, but you can work on that over the next couple of days.
All right. See you, fellas. That's Jeff Poor, Dale Jackson, and his little old me. That's your last round of Grand Council. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. We'll be right back.
For a time in the Navy, and then I have to pass the test to maintain the contract throughout the duration. So you go to MEPS just like anybody else does, went down to Montgomery, signed on, all that stuff. And 6 months, it might have been a little bit longer than 6 months, but they slate you for a time to leave for boot camp. So you don't leave immediately.
Delayed entry.
Yeah, so it's and it wasn't by choice either. It was just, hey, this is the time that we have for you to leave. And so I'm going through that process, and I have to continue to check into the NOSC or the little Navy area down there. Go and check in. I do my screener, make sure I maintain that contract, and went to the Navy and went through boot camp. When you're done with boot camp, it's like 3 months long or 3.5 months, whatever it is. Go through boot camp. In boot camp, you have extra, because I had a contract for NSW, you have an extra training in the morning. So
Naval Special Warfare, for those who don't know.
Yeah. So you go, NSW guys had to go and train early in the morning, swim and run and all that stuff at boot camp. So we got up earlier. Everybody gets up at 5, let's say, or whatever time it was. We get up at 3:30 or 4. Go over, do an hour of training, come back. Everybody's up at 5, making their beds, getting ready for the day for your inspection, normal boot camp. So we had extra stuff at boot camp to keep us ready, albeit it didn't work that well. I got in worse shape in boot camp than I was when I got in boot camp. And once you're done with that, they had something called scruff duty. That's gone now, but scruff duty is where they hold you, and then they take guys, and whoever's the top screeners gets sent out to BUDS to class up in BUDS in San Diego. And this is in Chicago, Great Lakes, Illinois, is where the Navy boot camp is. So after boot camp, went to scruff duty. I got picked up in the first rotation, and they send us out to San Diego, and there you check in, and you don't check into a class yet, because then they take the top screeners and they put them in the next class to sign, for BUDS indoc. It's not called indoctrination anymore, but at the time I was there, it was called indoctrination. And that's basically a couple weeks of prep for BUDS first phase, and you lose a lot of guys during that time. So that's the process. When I got out to San Diego, I classed up with Class 264 and with INDOC, made it through INDOC, made it into first phase, and it's constantly a selection process. So out of the Southeast, they took, out of a couple hundred guys that screened, 10 of us actually wound up going to BUDS and maintaining that contract. And then when you get into scruff duty, there's a couple hundred guys there. There might have been 300 guys at scruff duty. Well, they took 50 of those guys that were the top screeners and sent them out to San Diego. So I was in that first run, and a lot of my buddies were. Sent them out to San Diego. And in San Diego, you might have a couple hundred guys waiting to class up, and they'll take however many of those guys to fill that next class. So they're always selecting, taking the top performers, because, again, they're trying to get more numbers through. The percentage still stayed the same as failure rate, but they're just trying to get more numbers into the teams. And so I classed up with 264, 366 guys with BUDS INDOC. And by the time we graduated BUDS, I think only 11 originals graduated. Wow. And of the 11 originals that graduated, of 32 guys that I started with actually got tridents. I was one of those guys. I didn't graduate until Class 267. So you get rolled for injury, performance, maybe both. I got rolled, and in 267 is when I actually graduated BUDS and SQT.
Yeah, we call that recycle in the Army.
Yeah, that's it. You're just getting recycled, but you only get one shot to recycle, and they might hold you 2 or 3 classes for your injury to heal, or whatever it is, but they'll throw you back into a class, and you have certain staples. So Hell Week is one. If you make it through Hell Week, you don't have to go through Hell Week again. If you make it through pool competency in the second phase, you don't have to go through pool comp again. If you make it, and then third phase, you'll have to start over.
Are there ancillary? I mean, in the Army we call them special schools, like additional special schools. And I actually had some Rangers some SEALs in my Ranger class. Yeah. So did you go to airborne school? Did you go to? What else
so we go to jump school because we're all Hey-Ho qualified, all that. So, right. But we had our own jump school. Okay. Because the Army.
So you're not at Fort Benning going through jump school doing that.
No, the guys used to. But when they set the requirement that all SEALs be Hey-Ho qualified, we stood up our own jump school right there in San Diego at Brownfield, and we did all of our staff.
Ruffians out there, you are listening to Rightside Radio, solid conservative, just plain right. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative, just plain right. Like man, covering down on some major ground across the Southeast US of A. I won't do the whole thing this time, but I'll just say we're in multiple states. We got a ton of y'all live streaming, a bunch of people live streaming today. And then, oh, by the way, a ton of y'all podcast the show. In fact, JP told me the other day, I got to say this, all you guys that listen on the podcast forum. So every single day, if you miss a show, you can always recatch it because we podcast it. It gets put up in all the places you can imagine. Podbean's the best one to go to. It's out there on Apple, iTunes. It's everywhere. But the podcast version of the show, a few days ago, JP was at what, 364?
Yesterday it was 364.
And today it's over 368?
369 today. So yesterday alone was 1,249 downloads yesterday. And then already today, apparently we're at 3,521 downloads just today.
Today?
Yeah. So I guess they were listening to yesterday's show and the such. So
listen,
I think I said we're on track to hit 365 by the end of the week. We went to 360. We may be at 370 before the end of the day.
Holy cow.
So
370,000 downloads of this show. That's amazing. And God, for us, it feels huge. There are people out there like Joe Rogan who get 1 million downloads a day. I mean, that's a different.
Well, Joe Rogan is the Podfather. So
he is like Podfather. I like that.
Yeah. So you can't compare to Joe Rogan.
Well, nonetheless, what I'm saying is, you guys, that is huge because there was a time when Boomer and I sat here in the studio and we were joking about when we're going to get to 200 and what it'll take. Maybe it was 150. I forget. But anyway, the bottom line was we have just exponentially grown. So we spent a lot of time on the show earlier talking about Rightside 2.0. So JP, along with Amy Beth Shaver, who is often referred to as Abs, and Allison Sinclair, are taking the mantle and running with it as I depart to go through the confirmation process. And it's one of those things too where I also know that I am not confirmed for the job yet. I am just putting my name in there to be confirmed, having been tapped by the president for that process.
Come on, we all know you'll be confirmed. Well, don't worry about it.
That is the prayer. But I'll say this: I feel really good about where it's going, and especially with all the results we got on the text lines today. You guys are crazy. So the text lines blew up when the ladies were here. I can't even begin to catch up. Let me see if I'll get a few of these. Junebug from Hartselle says, "Welcome, sweet ladies. Y'all seem like a ton of fun. If Phil and Charlene chose you through the providence of God, then I know it's going to be amazing." And there is that. Bob from Madison says, "Phil, I know you'll be confirmed. You're the right guy for it." Thank you, sir. And where will your office be located? 2 offices, by the way. The Northern District of Alabama is considered a large district. And it has major offices in both Birmingham and Huntsville with 2 major courthouses. And there's federal courthouses in like Tuscaloosa and Anniston also. But the actual offices are going to be in Birmingham, main office, Huntsville, adjunct office. And with the growth of Huntsville, I see that office probably, who knows, we'll see, growing in the future. Raven from Russellville. Hey, Raven, I haven't heard from you in a while. Thank you, brother. Says, Colonel, it's been an honor and a privilege. If I can ever be of service in any way, you have my number. De Oppresso Liber, Airborne, your friend, Raven. Man, Raven, thank you so much. And yeah, De Oppresso Liber, Rangers lead the way. Brian from Scottsboro is brand spanking new to the text line. He said it's the real summer summer of the monkeys. Yes, it is. I had not heard this monkey story.
Oh yeah, it was actually my mom that texted it to me yesterday. It's like out of a movie, nuts, but also really scary.
Yeah, I mean, you got a bunch of literally rabid monkeys escaping from a truck. You couldn't write a script like that. That's like how the zombie apocalypse starts.
Hey, if we got any, well, I guess hunting of monkeys is technically illegal, so I probably shouldn't say that, but may have to do what you got to do.
I'm pretty sure if they're rabid and they escape from a lab, hunting them is okay.
Yeah, I think they get a pass on this one.
This is a scenario that like Planet of the Apes got started this way, didn't it?
Yeah.
David at Bucky says, "Welcome, girls, to the right side. While I don't know you, I look forward to getting to know you. You two seem like a perfect fit for all of us ruffians." Outstanding. Thomas from Athens says, I'm loving the Mavens of Mayhem. That's what I coined that phrase today for them, by the way, the Mavens of Mayhem. We got, let's see, what do we got? John from Huntsville checking in. He says, JP, I hope you get to keep the ice cream sound effect and the screaming goat sound effect. I mean, which one would you want to lose? I don't think any of them. Can't lose those sound effects. Oh, yeah.
We got to do at least one more Jamel Brown check-in before you go.
How's Jamel Brown doing, by the way? Do we know?
He's doing his daily.
Got his twerking Tuesday and everything else ready to go.
He's out hitting the road campaigning.
If y'all don't know, look up Pastor Jamel Brown running for governor of the state of Alabama.
Jamel Brown. Look it up.
Whew, it's a hoot. Lance from Hillsborough saying, my wife is having the hot flashes, so I'll be introducing her to the show very soon. Lance, listen, brother, let me caution you on what you text. JT from Madison said, I sure am going to miss the military stories I can relate to. Best wishes, brother Phil. JT, thank you very much. And yeah, but you know what? That's part of it is whoever's behind the microphone brings their life stories to the moment. And I think you're going to hear some pretty cool stuff. Jeff Rowe from Indiana says, as the light side of the right side, laughing will be no problem. In fact, like Trump says about winning, you may get so tired of laughing, you'll be saying, please, no more laughing. Jeff from Athens says, if there's a break in the fast-paced show, will it be menopause? Wow, you got a womp for him over there. It's like, I don't know, man. Tom from Decatur says, welcome aboard, ladies. Looking forward to texting you. There you go. Jenkins from Sneed, Alabama says,
oh, you got to read Jenkins's first text at the top of the day.
First one?
It says, will Miss Amy and Miss Allison be on air with the most magnificent, the legendary Phil Williams the rest of the week? But the disclaimer, he put a disclaimer in there, which is funny. He said, disclaimer, no representation made that the quality of the radio host services is bad. Why would they be bad? It's Rightside Radio.
There you go. He's got it down to an art. Thank you. By the way, he also talked about the fact that he says, I'm 23. I got married 4 years ago locally in Pell City. There you go. Jenkins, outstanding. Got married at 19 years old. Outstanding. I will say, Charlene and I was married at 21. I was a daddy at 23. And I look at,
there's not many like that in my generation. I feel like that start day is getting pushed back and back further.
I don't know how to explain it, but then again, for me, I know how to explain it. I was like, I can't let this get away. Listen, I was ready to get married, man. I was like, what are we waiting for?
Yeah.
In fact, I will tell you this funny story. So Charlene and I, we got engaged. It was an awful proposal on my part. It was totally unromantic. I just couldn't wait.
See, I was going to bring it up, but I wanted you to bring it up. I don't know if you want to tell the story.
I'm not going to tell the story. but I literally, I had an awful proposal, but she still said yes. And then we were planning like, we'll get out of college, we'll get married. And then one day we went to get yogurt. They had these yogurt shops. It used to be called TCBY, which stood for the country's best yogurt. Okay.
There's still those around.
So we're sitting at a TCBY in Mobile, Alabama. And we start writing on a napkin. Well, how much do you think rent would cost? Write it down. Well, how much do you think, I don't know, power bill would cost? I don't write it down. And we wrote down what we thought life would cost. We had no idea. No idea.
It was,
but what we were doing was talking ourselves into getting married sooner. So we did. We wrote it on that napkin. I wish I still had that napkin. I'd frame it or throw a dart at it. I'm not sure which. but that napkin was the game changer. And we decided, why are we waiting? I think we can pay for this now. We couldn't pay for anything.
That was a God ordained naivete to go ahead and get it going.
I don't think naivete is. Ignorance. It was a flat out ignorance is what it was. But you know what? Love is free, and we've been married 39 years.
Love is a prophet. There's that.
There you go. Rusty from Harvest says, boys are not fully formed until they're 34 years old. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what's happening here.
I think that was during the conversation about marriage.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But like I said, I was raising, by the time I was 34 years old, my son was already, 12?
Yeah, I was say, I think it's a little earlier than 34.
11?
I think the frontal lobe for males is fully formed at like 28.
I was an old soul. I was an old soul, though.
I'm an old soul.
You're
too,
an old soul. You're definitely an old soul.
I still got a long time for this frontal lobe is developed. So
Jeff from Huntsville says, my bride and I married almost 37 years and did the Gatlinburg honeymoon too. Loved it. Jeff, there you go. Welcome to the club, brother. Tom from Madison said, you and previously J-Town are towers of conservatism. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, J-Town's been on the show many times. I had no idea. I was talking to the guy who is, been filling the seat for a while there that I'm taking. Roughly Ann from Huntsville says, 4.5 years, I won my right side t-shirt. Still wearing it with pride. Thank you very much. Wow. So Roughly Ann, I'd forgotten you won one of the shirts way back in the day. That's awesome. Last couple before the break, Michael from Madison said, you can't compare yourself to Joe Rogan because I'd rather listen. Oh, well, thank you very much. 'Cause I'd rather listen to you. Thank you, Michael. Brian from Harvest says, I'm just going to say congratulations now on your new job. Brian, appreciate you. Carrie from Killen says, hunting an invasive species is not illegal. # rabid monkeys.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then last one for the break. Roy from Hartsel says, gonna miss you, Phil, but thanks for the eye candy you left. Oh my God.
I should have stopped you.
Did you really just say that?
I should have stopped you.
My misogynistic ruffian. Thank you very much. And then Kelly from Killen says, I also want a shirt too. All right, listen, we're taking the break. Last break of the day on Hump Day. Phil Williams, Right Side Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We will be right back.
There, I've only got like 5 or 6 static line jumps, and then a couple hundred, free fall jumps. There's some guys that really get into it. They have thousands of free fall jumps, especially guys over at Development Group that jump a lot. Now we spent a lot of time in the wind tunnel and did a lot of that, but and we had a whole air ops thing that we stood up at Team 3 where we would jump in with stuff, and you can do advanced schools later, but a requirement to be a SEAL is to pass jump school, free fall school. And some guys wouldn't pass it. Some guys make it through buds and then they fail jump school.
That was one of the dreams I never got to go do.
Yeah. Free fall?
By the way, is that still considered a primary insertion technique for the teams? Is that?
No, I wouldn't say it's a primary insertion technique. There's some guys that have inserted into combat situations in Africa primarily via jumps, halo jumps or HAO jumps. The only ones I ever did was training, and so it wasn't really needed because we're at war in the country we were in, so we didn't have to jump in.
So all right. I see the pipeline. I see you got trained. Let me ask you this real quick before I move on to deployments. So Ranger School, for me, I went and it was all about patrolling and small unit tactics and, and mountaineering and whatever else and swamp operations, and which was miserable. And all those things were, they were real.
Where'd y'all do your swamp stuff at? Mississippi?
No, down in Florida.
Oh, in Florida? Okay.
Yeah, Eglin Air Force Base. But that being said, later I realized, I think more than anything, I learned things about me.
Yeah.
And I gained stuff that was not necessarily what I would call military.
Yeah.
It was more along the lines of things that it did to me, for me, and taught me about me.
Yeah.
What about you with buds and the rest?
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess the most concise way I can say it is, again, a scriptural principle. David says, you knit me in my mother's womb. God made you who you were before you were even born. He knew you, he knit you, he put you on this world for a certain purpose. And the New Testament tells us so that he's placed every man in his time and his specific dwelling so that he might reach out and find God. So he placed us here to find him, to be able to see this is who God is, right? The Godhead, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. So I do believe that aspect of it, but he made you a certain way, right? He made you to find him, but he also made you a certain way to share him with the world around. I don't believe, what I've learned is I don't believe everybody's like, oh yeah, they trained you that way in buds, or they trained you that way to be a SEAL. No, that's not what they're doing. Notice everything I've talked about is a selection process. It's a constant selection process. And even once you get there, once you get to a SEAL team, once you get to in an instructor role, once you get to development group for the guys that go special mission unit, it's still a selection process for those individuals. Even once they make it there, you have to continually perform. And I would say that for me, that's what it taught me. They don't train you to do anything. I mean, they train you in some ways. They hone you, make you better. But the end goal, especially for buds, is to find, is this the individual that we want to become a SEAL?
Yeah.
For sniper school, is this the individual that we want to become a sniper? I'm already a sniper, right? They just find me. I'm already a SEAL. They just find me. I'm already a Tier 1, a Special Mission Unit SEAL, development group SEAL. They just find me. Does that make sense? And that's all of their processes that they're doing in every aspect. Then you get out of the SEAL teams. I'm already an operator, but the CIA finds me for the specific thing they want, or the DIA finds me for the specific thing that they want. They don't really teach you to become anything.
Who was it? Was it maybe Michelangelo who said that the art that he is sculpting is already in the stone? And I'm super paraphrasing.
He just reveals it.
He just reveals it.
That's exactly
his job is to bring it out.
I would say that's the biggest thing that I've learned is that individual, wherever you're at, you know, wherever you're at within your community or whatever, that individual is already there. For me in the SEAL teams, I was already a SEAL. They just found me. And there's not many guys. That's why we have such a high attrition rate, right? And then you go to the next step, like sniper school. That's why we have such a high attrition rate at sniper school. These guys are SEALs, but they're not a sniper. That's why you have such a high attrition rate in development group for the guys that go over SEAL Team 6. These guys are already SEALs. They're top-level operators. But we need something different for this. Does that make sense?
It
And
does.
so that's kind of the flow. And that's probably what it taught me, is that everything is finding out, are you the person that can be this? Not training you to be the person to be that, which I find interesting because, again, it is a biblical, it's a scriptural principle.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I think we find problems in this world. We either desire to be things that we weren't made to be. We shouldn't do that, right? It's the guy with the 1 talent, the 5 talents, and the 10 talents.
Well, boys outside his gifts.
Yeah, that's right. And if you're outside your gifts, you don't desire to be something that you weren't made to be.
Yeah.
And be the best thing that you can be. It doesn't matter if it's a dang garbage truck driver. My granddaddy, who loves, he's a farmer. He loves farming. He loves digging in the dirt. And I was at his house this morning, and that's what he was going over, showing me his plants that he built a little green.
And we are back. Phil Williams, Right Side Radio, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Just making common sense like a superpower. Big Al from Harvest sent a cool text. Say, Phil, I want to say thank you for all the great work you've done. I've been with this radio station, WVNN, ever since Sean Hannity sat in your seat. So those of y'all who don't know,
Wow.
this spot, WVNN out of Huntsville, 2 to 5 in the afternoons, is exactly where Sean Hannity got his broadcast start. On WVNN in Huntsville. A lot of folks have forgotten that. But Big Al says he's been there since Sean Hannity sat in this seat. Said, I only wish I could have spent some more time, that I could have spent some time with you to allow you to see our candy apple red 68 Firebird convertible since you're a Mustang guy. Man, that sounds like a sweet ride. He said, I think we could have hit it off really well. Good luck in the future. Thanks again for all you did with us. Big Al, thank you. And I got serious car envy right now. So yes, there are very few vehicles that could lure me away from certain classic Mustangs, but a candy apple red 68 Firebird convertible might be in the running. John's got the grades in. Says Dale and Jeff Poor both get an A+ for their amazing final Grand Council performances, which means JP, Phil, and the new host of Right Side Radio are today's co-winners with a perfect A++. Congratulations. By the way, JP, I see a lovely Auburn football fan as your future wife.
Oh, please.
LOL.
No.
His
If it happens, it happens. but I'm
predictions have been working lately.
Gosh, why'd you do that to me, John?
Mixed marriages are fine.
Yeah.
Let me go to the phones because you know who's there. Jeff Rowe from Indiana. Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing real good. I'm in Kentucky anyway.
Yeah, good deal, man. You're moving. You almost all the way to Bowling Green, or you passed it?
I just got across the line there. Just got through fueling up, but it's a wet. It's duck weather up here, man. I tell you, a lot of rain.
A lot of rain. Not Jamaica level rain right now. That Hurricane Melissa has been something else down there.
Yeah, it come into a little sleet a while ago though, so it was doing something.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, tell me what your thoughts are about Right Side 2.0. How you feeling?
I'm feeling really good, and as I was telling JP, when I talked to you the other day, you told me he was going to be on here, but I was so distraught over you leaving, I couldn't remember what you told me.
I think I left it kind of. I didn't tell you who it was. I think I left it kind of shady and said you're gonna be fine. You're gonna like it.
No, you actually told me.
Did I? Did I?
Yeah,
I don't think I did.
Apparently.
Wow, I don't remember that part of the conversation. No, but I think they're going to be a hoot, man, and they've already had a great show down in the Montgomery market, so this is going to be a good fit.
Yeah, I think they'll do really well. But it's like I wrote in there a while ago. I don't know if you read it or not, but I wonder what kind of merchandise we're going to have now. Is it going to be the Right Side pantyhose or like the Right Side socks? I mean, come on.
I'm still going to be here, Jeff. I'm still going to be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
The alpha male is still running the board.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's no beta males allowed in a right side studio. So JP's now. I did tell him if you're struggling with testosterone levels, call me. I'll give you a buck up on the phone. It'll be all right.
That's why I need Jeff to call in every day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Jeff.
It can't be no worse than my son. He lives with 6 women. So you talk about estrogen overload. If he can make it, JP can make it through too.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a hoot. In fact, I was getting a kick out of how many different voices they use. The schizophrenic piece of the show where they come in with a New Jersey voice and they come in with a country girl, a sweet lady voice.
Yeah.
And
That's funny.
Anyway,
I believe it's going to be a lot lighter side. But when you first started out, I mean, you was pretty dead serious and everything. You know, there wasn't much laughing on this show at that time.
I had to break in, man. Y'all had to break me in a little bit.
Oh yeah. And here lately, we got to get laughing and cackling all day long now, so we're doing good.
We are doing good.
I just hope you can laugh. I just hope you can laugh at your next endeavor. Which I don't know.
Well, you know what? The bottom line is, if you can't find a reason to laugh, no matter where you are, something's wrong. Because sometimes you got to laugh just because you need to. Like over in Baghdad, the movie Oh Brother Where Art Thou, there were so many inside jokes from that movie. Whenever something was going really bad, somebody on my team would look around and go, "Come on in, fellers, the water's fine." And that was just our way of saying we're going to make it through. But anyway,
my trouble is if I don't find anything else to laugh at, I just laugh at myself, which is probably annoying as well.
But you know what? If you can't laugh at yourself too, then you must be a liberal. How about that?
That's right. Yeah, you don't see them laughing at all.
No.
Hey, but you talking about honeymooning down there in Gatlinburg? Well,
Yeah.
I did too, like everybody else around here.
Yeah.
Now, in Pigeon Forge, it had just been built within a couple of years of when you got married. But did you go into the parachute thing or whatever that with a fan in the bottom there, and where you put on the suit?
No, I did.
I can't imagine you not going in it. You as a paratrooper.
If I had known about it, I would have. But I don't think that was there.
Big silo looking thing in Pigeon Forge.
I know what you're talking about. I know of those things. I've never done one, but I wanted to.
Yeah.
And they actually use those to train military free fall divers.
Yeah.
But
it was like a year old whenever I got married and was down there and everything. So I know it was there when you was there. So.
What year did you get married? What year did you get married?
84.
Well, wow. See, we were 86. So yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, both of us get points because we remember what year we got married. That's JP. Always remember what year you got married.
Noted. I will remember that.
Duly noted. All right. All right, brother. Hey, listen, you be safe on the road out there. And I'm still here 2 more days, so you better be calling in. All right.
Oh, yes. I guarantee you, especially on Friday.
All right, man. Well, you have a good one. I'll talk to you
soon.
soon. All right.
See you.
Bye. Listen, we do. I just saw somebody, Paul from Decatur, apparently hasn't had a chance to hear the news, but he just got told by JP. Yeah, I'm headed to the calling of a lifetime. Never saw this coming. But today we did hand off Rightside Media, the parent company of Rightside Radio, has now been acquired by JP and Allison Sinclair and Amy Beth Shaver, and they're going to take it to the next level. And Charlene and I are grateful, JP, for you and for the 2 ladies for what y'all stand for who you are, and for the fact that you decided to make this your calling. There's a lot of other things in life you could be doing, dude, but you decided this is where you want to hang your hat.
No, there's not. Because God put me here to do this, so I feel certain of that. So,
well, listen, we're going to be here the next couple of days. My last show will be on Friday. In the meantime, never forget, there's way more of us than there are of them. God is still very much on his throne. Y'all stay in the fight. We'll see you tomorrow.